All right, let's get started.
Oh.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, because I already hit record, so
Perfect.
You wouldn't be able to go back now.
Yeah, it's
but
too late.
You're listening to Clemente's Corner. I am your host, Clemente. I am here with Jeremy. Say what's up to everybody.
What up, what up? Hey.
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 It is July 1st. Happy July.
Oh, shit,
July,
it is.
July 4th weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
As they say. Did you see any fireworks last night?
I heard a shit ton.
That counts.
Yeah, I stay inside most of the time, and I have blackout curtains, so I didn't see anything.
That's good. That's good to have.
Yeah. So.
Keep out the world.
Yeah, that's all I
feel
do.
That. So you had a gig in Lubbock last night?
I didn't have a gig in Lubbock. I had some buddies that I was
friends.
playing for, that I used to play for. They played down there. And I was actually, my dad lives in Lubbock. So I was going to see him, and then they happened to be playing. So I went down and I saw them. So it was cool. But I have been playing in Lubbock a lot. That's mostly I either play in Lubbock or I'm at 806. That's really all I...
Just open mics in Lubbock?
No, we mainly play Jake's.
Okay.
Jake's Back Room. That's really the only place right now. I don't even know of any. I'm sure there's open mics there, but I haven't. It's hard to catch them.
Yeah,
just because it's hard to catch the one I hear. Because I live in Borger, so I'm 45
really?
minutes. Yeah, I'm 45 minutes away from here.
I worked in Borger for a couple months.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, not a happy place for me.
No, it's not. What were you doing in Borger?
I was selling insurance for State Farm, and the boss wanted me to move to Borger. Like that was like the main thing.
Oh no.
And I was commuting there until I found a place, and like I didn't really find any good. There's no places there really, so, and I didn't like the town at all. So I was like, well, I don't really want to go there. And he's like, well, that's what I hired you for. I was like, well, and then I guess I have to quit. Like this. So yeah, we just parted ways.
Yeah, no, Borger's, it's got its charm, but I think you have to kind of like either, I don't know, you grow up there, or you have to be willing to, I guess, let your soul die.
That's a good way to look at it. So did you grow up there, or is your soul dead? Okay.
No,
both. Well,
both. No, I moved there in 2001. My mom actually grew up there. She graduated from there, and then like through everything that happened, I was adopted. I'm actually from Bakersfield. My parents got me from Bakersfield when I was a baby, moved me to Lubbock. And then through a bunch of stuff with my family splitting up and everything, my mom and I wound up back in Borger. So I did most of my like important developmental years in Borger.
I see.
So yeah, 2001 to now.
So scarred you for life.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think I have like a 3% less lifespan just because you're surrounded by chemical plants.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, like you have carbon black, you have Agrium, which does like, I don't know what they do, something with urine, I don't know. And then they have Phillips, the oil refinery. So you're literally surrounded by those plants.
Damn. And that takes down your lifespan?
Yeah, they're saying like it's like you have a 3% less chance of living long.
How long do you have to be exposed to that?
I don't know.
Is it instant? Because I was there for a bit.
Oh no, I think you're fine. If you were commuting, so you didn't have to breathe that shit all day every day.
That's true. I did have some track meets there though.
Oh well,
back in high school.
Yeah. That's maybe you probably like 1% less.
1%. Okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's but yeah, it's a town or something.
I like alcohol, so it's probably worse. It's probably a higher percentage already.
Yeah. So.
Faux show. But so you really only perform at the 806 in Amarillo?
That's the only place I've played in Amarillo so far. As far as like my solo stuff, I was in a couple bands a couple years ago. We played one time in this band I was in. We played Bahama Bucks off of Bell.
Nice.
I think there's one on Bell Street.
Yeah, just set up in the corner.
We were like a hard rock band, and so we set up a PA in the parking lot.
Snow codes.
Yeah, exactly. And we were just in the parking lot, and we played this show at Bahama Bucks for some reason.
How was it?
It was awful.
Really?
Yeah. Like the only
bunch of 12-year-olds.
Well, the only redeeming factor was like there was this girl that I had known for a long time who wound up showing up to that show, and like got to play, and she got to see me play, which was dope. And like at the end of the set, she was like, "Hey, that one song y'all played, I really like that song." And I was like, "That's dope as shit," because that's the only song I wrote in this band.
Nice.
So I was like, So it was nice.
Songwriter.
Yeah, my ego was boosted that day, and then I like quit / got kicked out of that band like about 4 months later.
It's causing trouble.
Yeah, apparently I was my ego. I wanted to play guitar and be the front man, and so at least that's what they said after I left.
Oh, they didn't think you were frontman material?
No, well, I wasn't the front man. I was a bass player.
Oh, I see.
So it's possible that was what was happening because I was writing guitar parts and all this other stuff. I just joined this band. I usually join bands. That's what I wind up doing most of the time. It wasn't until the last 6 months I started writing and trying to do my own thing.
So you've only been writing about 6 months?
Well, I mean, I've been playing music since I was 14, so it's like 15 years almost.
Wow.
But actually, like, seriously writing consistently, it's been the last 6 months. Because I've had a reason to. Most of the time, like, so for 7 years I was playing in a church. I was a worship pastor and like a youth guy.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I was in ministry for like 10 years. And then, so most of the time I was just doing that. And I wasn't really keen on like writing songs for the church, although I wanted to. I was never really good at it. And then the last 6 months, just with a bunch of stuff that happened in my life, I was like, well, I need to write this stuff down and sort through it, or I don't think I'm gonna make it through this 6 months. And it started doing some really cool stuff as far as motivating me to, to do this thing that I sort of had been dreaming about doing for 10 years, which was play music and play gigs for people and all of that stuff.
Nice. So you doing a lot of solo stuff? Have you recorded any of the songs you've written in the past 6 months?
Yeah. So I demoed out a lot of them in my house, and then I'm really just waiting to do drums, like which I have to like go to a facility and record those. But essentially, it's working out. I have like 6 tracks that are essentially done, but I just have to get drums and then send them to a buddy of mine in Portland who does the mixing for me, and he'll mix them, and then I'll probably just print them on like CDRs and do the artwork with. I'm just kind of like trying to DIY a lot of it.
Nice, that's awesome. So do you prefer like doing it solo, like having that control, so people don't try to kick you out?
yeah. Well, I mean, that's always been the case. Well, it's a lot of it is just because like I know what I hear. I kind of hear everything, and the guys that I've been really into that sort of inspired me are all dudes that do that too. Like Max Bemis from Say Anything. I think the first 3 albums he wrote were pretty much all him except for drums. Like he did all the parts, and then they had a band that would tour around with him. That's cool. So I've always been intrigued by that. Another guy that I just started listening to, his name's Evan Weiss. He's in a band called Into It Over It. He's in one called Pet Symmetry, and a bunch of other bands, but he does the same thing. And I don't know, there's something about it where it's easier for me to hear if I hear something and I'm capable of doing it, then I'd rather do it. Yeah. And then be able to just tell someone like, hey, can you replicate this? And then over time, like maybe like if that person winds up being a regular in what I'm doing, then they'll naturally start contributing. But for the most part, I'd rather just do it myself. It's easier.
That's dope. That's cool. So you just go in there and you like record each instrument like separately?
Yeah. So I'll basically I'll sit down and I'll write guitars or something and have an idea and then build off of it. And then,
I mean, you plan on, I guess you were already going to tour solo, but when you tour solo, do you just find people you know who are like...
That's the plan. Yeah. I've never toured solo. This is the first time I've ever done anything of mine that wasn't either church related. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool, man. Like I've had a couple people reach out. Like I know this one dude that I only know from like, she's like, he is like this girl's boyfriend, and I know the girl, and she's like, hey, so and so wants to play drums for you, and I was like, okay, cool, let's do that. And then just kind of little by little, it's hard in Amarillo because I don't know as many musicians as I do in Lubbock. So it's trying to find the people up here. It's so strange too because it's only like 2 hours away from each other, and like the culture is so vastly different.
The culture's big difference, especially the comedy game too. There's so many more comedians there.
Yeah.
And they have way more venues to choose from. So.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing comedy 14 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too short, like, because I saw you in January. So you'd been doing it, like, kind of like almost like a year.
Yeah, like 6 months-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, I started at the 806 on April 26th.
That's dope, dude.
Yeah, great times. Great times. Some bad times, but mostly good times.
I mean, that's half of performing, and I imagine especially more with comedy.
Yeah.
Because, like, I saw a tweet you posted about, like, comedy is essentially, it's not so much about, like, being funny, it's about being willing to eat shit over and over and over and
that's
over.
That's really what it is, man.
Yeah. 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 And I'm catching that a little bit. So the last 806 that I had was awful.
Really?
It was awful.
Was that last Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had strep throat. I heard Christian did really well. Christian Cook, blonde guy with glasses. He does stand up.
Oh, yeah, dude. He did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy, because I remember his first set was just that long story about the Confederate flag girl. And that bit was so fucking funny.
That's a great one.
But yeah, dude, he killed it. The comics that played that night were, I mean, that's what's really cool about what's happening right now is you're seeing the comedy boom.
Yeah,
I think in
it's
Amarillo,
crazy. It's crazy,
which is neat.
It's cool to be at the front of it.
Yeah, man,
it's exciting.
You and Skylar, like you guys are the guys. Yeah, I would say
we're supposed to go to Austin on Thursday, but I think he might cancel it.
Yeah,
because low funds, but we'll get out to Austin eventually. I'd like to go hit up some other mics. I've been to a couple Lubbock mics, and those are always fun.
Yeah,
it's more competitive there, so I don't know. It's cool to see other people.
Yeah,
like there's a guy from Lubbock who was at Urbana last night, and he killed it. He was super funny.
Yeah,
it just kind of sucks because we invited Lubbock comedians to come through, and we had like 10 audience members. We're like, yeah, there's a music festival today.
Oh,
we
yeah.
thought we planned this badly. Yeah. Please come back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hard, man, because we played with a band called Secrets last week. And the Lubbock show was fine, but we played Oklahoma City, and there were like 15 people there. And this band like has like 250,000 followers or something on Facebook or something like that.
Damn.
They're signed. They're a pretty big band, I guess, in that scene. I had never heard of them. I think that's just because I'm old. But
old.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm 28, but so like there's like a 4 or 5 year span of like this like post-hardcore emo pop punk thing.
I thought you were like 22 or 23.
Nah, man. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, man.
You look younger than me.
Yeah, I take that as a compliment because I feel so freaking old. It's ridiculous,
really?
Man. Yeah, every time I've been at the 806, I look around and I'm like, what are all these children doing here? Because like everyone's like, the only other person that I thought I knew was close to my age was Rothstar. And because he said in his bit that he was like 30 something. I'm like, oh, okay, that's.
Yeah.
That
I think
guy.
Skylar's 28. So.
No, that's right. Yeah, Skylar and
you guys are good.
Thomas is I think like 26 or something.
He's around there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no. Yeah, Secret's apparently this like big band, and there wasn't a big draw, which was kind of disappointing for them. It's got to be hard to be like, you have this following, and there's just certain pockets of this Panhandle area is such a weird.
Yeah.
People don't come out for things.
That's true. That's very true. We did a benefit show for this kid who got shot in like a drive-by, and they were raising money for his surgery. So I was like, man, there's gonna be a ton of people there. It's gonna be crazy. There were like maybe 15.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that was at Zombies, right?
Yeah, it was at Zombies.
Zombies is such a cool place, man.
It was fun. Like it was still a good show, but
yeah. How's the license plate stage?
I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm sure it's great for.
Yeah.
There's 6 of us in Divided Me. It's a band I'm in. There's 6 of us playing this heavy music on this license plate stage. And that was like my first show with them was at Zombies.
Nice.
And it was. I think I almost tripped like a couple times because the floor is so slick. But,
oh really?
Yeah. But no, it's a cool place.
Yeah.
And that sucks that people didn't show up. But that's like everything. Like they did. The cause is not near as important, but they did a thing at Lake Meredith to raise money for their fireworks show, and they brought in this dude. I guess he was on The Bachelor, He has a band.
Mm.
It was like this big thing. They had big production and everything, and there were like 10 people out there.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, and they didn't promote. I saw the stuff for a zombie show all over the place. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter if you promote or don't promote.
Yeah.
People just don't want to come out.
That's
it's
true.
It's strange, man.
It happens. I mean, sometimes they do come out, though. You never really know.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to draw them.
Yeah.
Or what else is going on, I guess. Maybe that's
that's also the thing. Like, yeah, because I know, like you were saying this weekend.
Because that was the same day as Pride, as the Pride Festival. So
that could have been it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would definitely play into it, I would think.
Have you checked out Lovestock before?
I haven't.
I didn't hear about it till this year. But I had the last podcast I did, I had the creators of Love Fest on here. Mm-hmm. And I was texting them back and forth today. They said they had 1,300 people. I was just like, damn. Like, their first one had 250. Mm-hmm. Their second one had, like, maybe 500.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you guys think you'll do this year? And I made them all, like, say a number.
Yeah.
The highest one was 800.
Yeah.
They had 1,300 people. That's
and now
crazy.
they do, like, it's like a multi-venue event, right?
Yeah, it was like the Music Box. Both Music Box buildings had performers. Mm-hmm. And then Zombies and Tease Bar both had performers.
And didn't they do a thing a couple weeks ago, too? Or is that a different... There was, like, another fest or something that happened.
Bad Magic, maybe?
That might have been it. I know Bad Magic did, like... It was, like, a multi-event thing that happened, like, the beginning of June.
I didn't hear about that till the day of, but I think the 806 has something to do with that one. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because they're just able to get sponsors. The first time they did it, they had the Chamber of Commerce with them or something. Mm. And they were able to raise, like, $4,000 just walking door to door, business to business.
That's sick.
Yeah, that's
cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to set something like that up.
Yeah. So what would be like where's your favorite place to play so far? Like, you've done Urbana, you've done 806, you're at Leftwoods, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you do Leftwoods?
Leftwoods is my favorite.
Is it? I've heard different things about Leftwoods from different people. So I've never been there yet, but
the people that work at Leftwoods are super supportive. Mm-hmm. And the stage is awesome.
Yeah.
So when there's a lot of people in the room, it's a great time.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would say the 806, just because it's small and intimate, and you're right there on the floor with everybody.
Yeah.
And you're like a couple feet away from people, so that's really good for comedy, just being a small area.
Yeah.
But
and people are really welcoming at 806. Too.
Yeah.
They're not very vicious. I think
it's very true.
I think it's a good place to start. Like but maybe not. Maybe it's also like one of those things. Like, maybe it's better to be thrown in the deep end and like play a place that's like where people are like utter assholes.
It depends,
you know. But I know 806, at least as far as playing went, it was such like playing music. It was such a, it honestly was such a godsend that I needed, because like I hadn't been playing anything anywhere, and then I just showed up one Wednesday at 806 and played, and people were wonderful.
It is cool because they're engaged. You know, there's no bar, no one's there for anything else. Well, I mean, people are there for other things, but when they're in the room, their attention's on you. Their attention's on the microphone.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it is really cool.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Because at bars you have to compete with whoever's at the bar. Because they didn't come there for you. You know.
Right. Yep. Which I imagine is also a good tool. Or I guess it's a good experience, right? It's like it's like your workout, right? It's
absolutely,
it's training. You have to learn how to grab people's attention, especially as a comic, because like the tools you have are just you, right? Like a musician, you could like there's all sorts of other aspects you could try to use, other effects, things, but like a comic, it's like, no, I need you to listen to my voice, and that's it.
It's really cool when you get people to like turn around and look at you. It's hard to do though.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when I first started performing at Whiskey River, I was just going by myself. And there were no other comedians there, and that was super hard. You can just like feel the energy being like sucked out. Like your voice it's just dying in the space.
Yeah.
And that's stressful, but it's good. It's also good to go through that, I guess.
Yeah.
I do that at Hoots still. Because at Hoots, I just go up to their open jam and I just go on, and you can't really hear the audience. They're super far away, but it's like it's practice, so I'm gonna keep going. You know.
Yeah. That sounds. I'm like a really big, just media fan in general. So like comedy and music, all of those things. Like, I just love all of that, and so I'm always just so intrigued by how people start and what makes people like what grabs their attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I particularly like storytelling, and that's a lot of what I think comedy's evolved into. There's obviously like you have one-liner guys, you have guys that do traditional like set up punchline, but for the most part, like a lot of what people are responding to now, I think is stories, right?
For sure.
I mean that's Christian.
Sure.
I mean Christian's first bit that I ever saw of his was that story, right?
It's a long story.
And like guys like Birbiglia. I mean Birbiglia is huge because of stories.
Brett Kreischer's big off of stories.
Yeah, and I love that stuff. I just bumped the fucking table.
You're good. You're
good. But that's also like I don't know, man. I think it's so cool because that's comedy's such a cool thing because and the way that it kind of brings people together because it breaks that barrier down of like well, he thinks this way and I think this way, and so fuck that guy, right?
Yeah.
But like with comedy, like it forces you to have to look at, like for example, like there are things that you say that like I know for a fact you're saying to kind of like push people, and
Absolutely.
and I love that. I love that because like it makes people uncomfortable. But then it's like, what do we do with that uncomfortableness? And even if two people leave the place and they're like, well, I didn't like what he said, at least now they're talking about, well, why didn't they like what you said?
Yeah.
And that's really, I think it's really cool.
It's fun. It's fun to play both sides. Like I can say something that's the complete opposite of what I agree with.
Yeah, you're really good at that. Just like even on social media, I could like 1 hour you're posting one thing, and then you post something that's like could be construed as like contradictory to what you said a couple days ago. But it's like because like I just from what I see on social media, I say you're pretty moderate.
Yeah,
for
the most part,
and that's that's a good place to be because that gives you like ammo to be able to make jokes about everybody.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to make jokes about everybody.
Yeah.
I feel like there's too much right now where that's super one-sided. Where it's just like fuck Donald Trump, like all your materials about Donald Trump, and it's like we get it,
Yeah. Who was I? Oh, it was Hari Konda. Fuck, I can never say his name. Hari Kondabalu. He's this Indian comedian. He just had a special on Netflix, and there's this whole bit where he talks about, he's like, he does this whole thing about politicians and Trump, and then he's like, at some point, like it's just exhausting. Let's stop talking about Trump because he does all the work for us. You just read his tweets, and there it is. And now I don't have anything. He's already done it for me, And also, yeah, like the culture is we're so angry all the time, and it's
so
just
absorbed
exhausting. And that's why superhero movies are so popular, I think, because we need a break.
That makes sense.
Like all of the pop culture and the amount of time we spend on, I mean, you look at YouTube, I think they're saying there's like, there's like something 100 hours worth of content being uploaded a minute to on YouTube.
Damn.
There's like hours upon hours of content per minute being uploaded to YouTube and then being viewed by people.
That's insane.
And that's all I do. Like when I go home, I'm just on, because like to look at the news and to look at how angry everybody is, it's just like, man, like just smoke some weed or something and calm down,
It's hard out here.
Yeah.
It's crazy out here.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, I don't know, man, that's like what's so, like, I haven't paid much attention to anything. I know the headlines for the most part, but at the end of the day, I don't have any strong opinions about those things, just anything really.
And like, that's another problem. People have really strong opinions about just a headline they saw.
Right.
It's like you don't know the whole story.
Right.
But
right. Yeah, dude. Well, and people are so willing to speak so confidently with and with so much surety, and I was basically a pastor for like 7 years, and I spent a lot of this time being just trained in theology and what I actually believe about God and all this stuff. And then over just like the last 3 years after all this stuff that's been going on in my life, it's like there are definitely things that I believe strongly about, But at the end of the day, like, I don't think I'm ever going to speak with like 100%. I can't think of the word.
Confidence?
I don't know about confidence. I'm just not going to tell someone like that they're wrong. Like,
Yeah.
I'm willing to say that there's at least a 99% chance. There's a 99% chance that I think I'm right, but there's that 1% that is like, I could be wrong about
That's
this
true.
particular
That's true.
thing.
Especially on
And
social media.
yeah. And so, and I approach that with like spiritual things, because like even within church culture, there's people are so vicious to each other in the church, as far as Christianity goes.
Really?
But then like, yeah, just because like there's these different ideas about eternity or about God in general, or even just like the way that the church wants to legislate morality. I mean, obviously, like when we talk about like gay marriage, or we talk about legalization, like just from a human perspective, you can have arguments on both sides. But then you throw in spirituality and belief and religion, there's an entire like new points of argument that get so vicious. And there are things I believe, but there are also things that like for instance, so typically being like I consider myself a Christian. Being a Christian, like people would assume like that I'm like against like gay marriage and stuff like that. And that's something I've had to wrestle with. Partly because my biological mom is gay. And I didn't find that out until I had spent a good amount of time being trained in the church and like developing my belief about that stuff. And that particular instance, and there's other things, but those are the things that make me like take a step back and say, well, this is maybe what I believe, but I'm also like not willing to, like, I can't just like bulldoze through with this belief when I like when I'm like face to face with someone that I care about. That's in this particular camp that a lot of people that I would say think like me have a lot of issues with that camp. You know what I mean? So and that makes me have to like play the middle, which is kind of cowardly sometimes. Like you do need to believe and like have like a set of like
I feel that you need to have a strong stance
right?
at some point.
But it's like, I think also like we're so set on an either or like ideology that we can't have a both and. Like the both and I think is more important. Like how can we have a both and thought about, for instance, like homosexuality? You know, why can't we have a both and? Like why can't we talk about divine design, but also talk about like the human aspect of these are two humans that are having real feelings. How do we deal with that? And how do we also deal with, it's particular for me, like obviously other people aren't going to think that way if they don't believe in God, but
absolutely
for me, like how do I look at the design of humanity and also look at the byproduct of that, right? And what happened.
And that is tough coming from a religious background for sure. Because it's like, you know, I don't want to change the law. That's already a law, you know? Like I don't want to go and I don't want to like hurt people over something like that. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is now, you know? I mean, like I don't necessarily agree with abortion, but I'm not going to try to overturn it, you know? Like it's part of the law of the land now, you know? It's where it's at. And that's just, I can't expect society, I guess, to feel the way I feel or to have the same background I had growing up. So, I mean, just hope for the best, I guess, man.
Right.
That's
right. Well, and I mean, that's the thing, man. Is like we always try to make we try to, because at the end of the day, like that, I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of things that are moral issues that we try to change with laws that we just can't. Like it's about, okay, how can we open up the hearts and minds of people to kind of be willing to look at whatever. Like say, for instance, like who was it that I was just listening to? I can't remember the numbers. His name's like Boogie something. He's a YouTuber, really big dude. He's a vlogger, but he's like really, really well known. And he was talking about like bullying and stuff. And he was saying stuff about how rather than like immediately changing a law that has to do with like gay marriage, you know, because you could change the law immediately, and now you've just got a big group of people that are extremely, extremely angry. And they're just going to attack.
War.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to attack this other group of people because they don't like the way the law has changed now. Whereas if we slowly try to change the hearts and minds of people.
What's up?
You know, did you find him?
Yeah.
Boogie? Yeah, that dude, he's so cool, man.
I imagine him being black. Is that racist?
Yeah, no, he's a big white nerd. But yeah, man, he was on some podcast just talking about how important it is that we would rather, if we could change the hearts and minds of the people that would have gotten mad with a law immediately being changed, like that actually is probably going to do more. It's just a matter of patience. Now, granted, that patience is hard.
Yeah, that might take decades.
Exactly. Like so you have an entire generation of people that will never see the benefit of that. But every oppressed group of people, they've felt that. And you look at the way the black community has been just treated for years, right?
Yeah.
And there's generations of people that never saw the small amount of like freedom and good
absolutely
that community of people have gotten, but they fought for it, and they or even you want to go biblically, like Moses led these people out of the wilderness. Dude was in the wilderness for 80 years and never saw the promised land.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean? That's crazy.
Like,
You never got it.
Yeah. So ultimately, like, we want to help ourselves, we want to care for ourselves, but then also, like, what do I want to leave for the people that, because like there are going to be things I'm just not going to get to see by the stuff that I do. So ultimately, it's like, what am I doing that's going to help the 8-year-olds that are like right now just in school, when they're like my age and they're sitting in a room across from each other talking about this stuff, or they probably won't be doing none of this. They'll probably all just like have like contacts and like little things in their ears, but
half robot.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, man, that's deep.
I don't know, man.
That's a lot to think about. Just dropped some big old bowl of knowledge on here, man.
Yeah.
I gotta go meditate.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know how. Oh goodness. Okay, I lose track of time because I talk so much.
Oh, you're good, man.
Okay, I don't want to like hog the conversation either. I'm really bad about that.
That's what you're here for, man.
Cool.
It's all. I don't want it to be like interviewee, like
sure.
I don't want it to feel rehearsed or anything. Just
yeah, totally.
Good conversations and
yeah,
whatnot.
Man. Yeah. So, are you originally from here?
Yeah, I went to Canyon High School.
Okay.
And then I went to WT for a little bit, and then just hung out here after I graduated.
What year did you graduate in high school?
High school, 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm 24.
Okay, so yeah, you'd have been a freshman when I graduated.
From Borger?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's something. It's something. But that's cool, man. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah, I sorry. I got sidetracked. I zoned out for a second. No, yeah, I'm good. I forgot what I was going to say. That's why I got silent. All that dead air. That's wonderful podcasting.
Oh yeah, dead air is good.
Trick.
And we're back.
Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe people were like, "Oh, I guess they're done." Just all of a sudden.
Just end abruptly. 33 minutes in.
Yeah, perfect.
That's funny.
That would be the shortest podcast episode I've ever done.
Mine too.
I think our longest one was like 2.5 or almost 3 hours.
Yeah, I've done one close to that.
And it was just talking about what we thought Avengers Age of Ultron was going to be.
Really?
Like the weekend before it came out, we're like,
so the whole thing was about the movie?
What's going to happen? and then the next week we did like a 2-hour episode talking about what actually happened.
Nice. What was the name of the podcast?
It was called 2/3. Like 2 and then the word thirds. 2/3 podcast. It was on I think it's still on YouTube. I'm not sure. It was on my SoundCloud, but then I took all that off so I could have space for music.
Makes sense.
So, cuz like I could only have like 3 episodes on SoundCloud at a time just cuz they give you
that's tough.
A time limit.
I pay the $15 a month so I can keep uploading stuff.
Oh yeah. I guess I should do that. I guess I could do that now. But I don't think I'm going to use it. I think you get like 3 hours or something like that, or 5 hours, like free.
Which is hard for a podcast.
Yeah,
music's easy, probably.
Yeah, music's way easy. Like I just put up those 4 covers, and it's like I still have plenty of time. Whereas like the podcast stuff, I'd have to like space out. We had like 10 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So like every other week I would take 2 down and put up new ones.
Oh, yeah.
So
that seemed like too much work, so I didn't do that.
Yeah, it was.
You had 10 episodes total?
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you guys stop?
Half of it was dude moved back to Austin, and it was really hard to kind of keep it going. The premise of the podcast was it was me and my friend Shane, and then we would always have someone else who was there who at some point, whatever we were talking about, one of us didn't care about it. So like that's why. So it was 2/3 of us were actually involved in the conversation. The other person was just there. Like we had one time our friend Oscar was there, and he talked at length just about like technology and like gadgets, because he's really into stuff like that. And like I don't know, I like my phone, but that's about it. Or we had our friend Jake is a super like Nintendo nerd, like just Nintendo. Like other games, fine, like he likes them.
He doesn't care about Xbox.
But no, he's like he'll buy the new Nintendo stuff when it comes out. Like
that Switch is cool.
The Switch is dope, man. Like I didn't want to like it, but the more that I've played it with him, it's like also like Smash Brothers is like my jam. So when they announced that, I'm just like, okay, I guess I gotta get one.
I can't compete on the new ones, but I used to crush on the 64.
Oh yeah, dude, I used to compete here in town on Smash. Yeah, like they do those tournaments and stuff.
That's what's up.
And I had to stop. I honestly haven't played video games in like 8 months.
Nice. It's hard for me to play video games unless I'm like with a group of people.
Yeah.
But on my own time, I really don't.
On my own time, I get angry.
At the video game?
At the game.
Bro, that was me as a kid. Yeah. My mom used to yell at me because I'd be yelling at my TV.
Yeah, and she'd be like, well, just turn it off. And I'm like, you don't understand. This machine is inferior to me. I have to
just turn it off.
I have to prove to this piece of shit that I'm the superior being here. Right? I never did. So at some point, I just had to stop. Also, honestly, it really, like, not to get back into some serious shit, but like that, like a lot of that had to do with like my mental health. I just had to stop because it was one of those things that just was like affecting me. Like I get so angry, and that's half why I stopped playing Smash Brothers, especially even with people, because like it would just make me so angry. Yeah, and especially when you're by yourself, like there are things that you say and the way you behave when you're angry by yourself
that you
would never do around anyone else. Yeah, exactly. Right? And it's just like
100%.
Yeah, and so I don't really. I still like video games, but I think a lot of that and like movies and all that stuff, those are stuff I still really care about. I just think the last 6 months, I've had to kind of like come out of this fog and like figure out how to re-like everything. It's actually been 3 years. So my mom passed away 3 years ago, the day before Thanksgiving. And then like every fall following that, something else bad would happen. It's like my mom died. I lost my job a year later. And then this last fall, my wife left me.
Oh, wow.
So it's like,
I didn't even know you were married.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So like all this stuff just kept happening. And so it's like any amount of like color or flavor or anything, like just never, I just didn't care. And it's like over like the last 2 months have been like some of the best months I've had.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah. And, but so I've had to kind of like relearn how to like things because most of the time everything just sort of was just like, I just had to do it or I did it without any thought.
That reminds me of like a South Park episode where Stan has like a birthday. Do you watch South Park ever?
Occasionally. I think there's like a Beatles Elvis camp there. It's you're either South Park or Family Guy. It's sort of like I love both of them. Yeah, I enjoy it. I think, but or now it's like you're either like you like BoJack Horseman or you like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that's a weird thing too.
Yeah, which is such a strange thing because they're different shows. But
totally different.
Anyway, like South Park, I enjoy it when I watch it.
But yeah, there was an episode where Stan, I guess he was like the first one to turn like 13 or something. I don't remember exactly. But every movie they would go watch, everything would just look like literal shit to him. Like it was just showing movie previews, and all the characters were shit, and they were shooting like shit out of their mouths when they talked, and all the music he was listening to, like they were all listening to new wave, like whatever 12-year-olds are listening to. Yeah. Tekashi 6ix9ine. Oh, and, gosh. and all he heard was shit. That's just I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
The way you were like.
That's a good way to put it.
Kind of turned everything off.
Yeah, everything turned to just literal shit, and but so like superhero movies was this thing I was really into. I think a lot of it has to do with like, so I had all these like things happen, but I at least had this like person who I could like kind of go through them with, and then that person was like, you know what, I'm gonna bounce too, and so now I'm like, oh, okay. So now everything that I enjoyed, that I was at least being able to enjoy with this person, was just like kind of sullied. Also,
you gotta learn to.
So I have to like learn how to reappreciate them without
live
that
with
person.
Yourself again,
right? Because like I got married really young. I was like 21, and she was 20, and we, I immediately like I moved out of my mom's house, and then 6 months later I got married.
Wow.
So I lived with my mom till I was 20, and so that's I don't know, man. Like so all that stuff like. This is the last 2 months I've had to kind of like re-examine like, okay, what do I like? What do I want to keep? What do I want to be able to let go of? And yeah, man, like superhero movies, and I don't know where I was going with that fucking rabbit trail, but I'm starting to enjoy things again, which is cool.
That's good. That's good. Have you seen Deadpool 2? It's amazing.
It's so good, man.
I think it's one of my favorite movies ever. It has to be one of my favorite movies ever.
Oh my gosh, like it was like a perfect sequel. Like it was like exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah. And
that's what I love. It was I don't know if you ever watched. Did you watch the 21 Jump Street movies? 22 Jump Street was so fucking funny because it was self-aware.
Yeah.
And Deadpool, but Deadpool, that's just the charm of Deadpool, is that he's always self-aware, and it was just really good.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah. So well done.
Yeah. Yeah, I love all that.
Great stuff.
I love all of that. Like just the idea of the comic book lore and everything. But I'm just like so tired now.
Yeah.
Because you have to like, at least with Marvel outside of like the X-Men stuff, you just like, it feels so.
It's too much.
Daunting now.
It's too much. There's like 12 movies you got to watch leading up to the Avengers, and then you got to watch 3 Avengers, and then there's gonna be another Avengers, and it's just like I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got tired of superheroes just because they're so in your face, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's always gonna be classic superhero movies that I'll watch, but for the most part, I just kind of zone out. I want to see the newer Spider-Man movies. I heard those were good.
Yeah, the one with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Pretty good.
It was really good. Yeah. That and the new Thor was really good.
Yeah, the Ragnarok. Yeah, see, those are both on my list to get to eventually.
Dude, yeah, those are good. The Guardians of the Galaxy films are all really good.
Oh, actually, I watched both of those. Those are good.
Honestly, like at the end of the day, if you don't see any of the Marvel movies, you at least need to see the second Captain America, like Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Yeah, Winter Soldier is.
I haven't seen that one. I saw the very first one.
Dude, Winter Soldier is like it is the best movie.
Really?
It is. It's like this amazing like political drama, as well as it being a superhero movie. Like I took my mom to see it before she died, and she's like not big on superhero movies. She's like, I don't know. She watches Matlock. I don't know, have you ever watched Matlock?
I haven't watched it. I've heard the name.
Okay, yeah. Matlock for listeners that are under the age of
detective?
18, he's a lawyer, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Matlock starred Andy Griffith, who was from the Andy Griffith Show, which is a show from the 50s.
I used to watch that one.
Yeah, so that guy got old and did a lawyer show, and it was called Matlock.
Okay, yeah. I recognize it now.
Yeah. So anyway, she's into that stuff. So she went and saw this movie. We left the theater, and she's like, I really liked that movie. I'm like, that's awesome. She was also like really patriotic, and Winter Soldier is all about the idea of how much should government be involved in keeping people safe. What sort of measures should we take in order to keep our country safe?
That was kind of like the same plot as like the Civil War one was just a sequel to
right? Civil War sort of bounced off of more of that, but Winter Soldier is sort of where it started.
Nice.
And it was also around the time that like the country was also kind of dealing with that, which was so strange, like with the drone attacks and all of those things.
That's what I like about the Purge movies.
Yeah.
They're kind of like culturally relevant.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Winter Soldier I think is a really good one that people should see if they don't watch any of them.
I've never been big on Captain America. It's just like,
no, yeah.
Do you really need a shield?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. I don't know, man. There's just the story in Winter Soldier was so good.
Yeah.
And that's half the reason. because I like storytelling, and that's half of why like I watch wrestling a lot too. And
I used to be big on wrestling.
Dude, wrestling is that way too. When I was a kid, I was such a it's wrestling term, but I was such a fucking mark, like in that I believed everything, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, like prank shows, they call them marks too. It's like people who like they aren't aware that this is all a work, that you're being played.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got older, I started to understand like, oh yeah, all of this is fake. Outside of like the fact that like these guys are like being thrown onto like pieces of wood for 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like that's painful, but everything else is just about how can I get people to react, which is also why comedy is so interesting too. Is that the goal is to how can my goal is to get these people to react. So if that means I have to say some really horrible shit to get them to react, or do I need to play like being an underdog and like get people to feel sympathy for me? And those things are so interesting. How do we work a crowd?
That's very true.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
So, but wrestling's like an acquired taste.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
Oh shit.
Mine has always been Undertaker.
Undertaker's dope, man. I was like a WCW guy when I was a kid. I watched WCW. So like Sting was really big for me.
Sting was dope.
Rey Mysterio was really good.
Yeah. Does he still wrestle?
He does, man. He does like Mexico and Japan stuff.
That's what's up.
And he's like in the best shape I've ever seen him.
There's a lot of like Americans, like not just wrestling, but also doing like MMA in Japan.
Yeah.
Japan's big on
Japan is blowing up when it comes to wrestling. I'd have to say right now, like the best wrestler out right now is Chris Jericho.
Really?
Dude, like
the walls of Jericho.
Dude, yeah, Y2J, Chris Jericho, homie did WWE, and then like the last 8 months he left WWE, went to Japan, did a show for Japan, like surprised show for Japan, and fought the top guy in Japan. Came back to WWE, did some shows there, left again to New Japan, won a title for New Japan right now.
New Japan, is that the name of their wrestling?
Yeah, okay. New Japan Pro Wrestling is like their big promotion. It's the WWE of Japan. And so he's like a title holder there now after having just like wrestled with WWE like a month before.
Wow.
And he's like reinventing himself. He's been wrestling since 2001 at least.
Himself. I remember I like the way the wrestlers, like their characters like evolve over time. Like Triple H used to be such a bad guy, you know? Like I remember when I was younger, I used to hate Triple H.
Oh yeah.
But now he's like a super good dude. You know?
Yeah. He's a wonderful guy, and that's what's so cool is like you figure out how to. Again, it's about making people react.
Because Chris Jericho was one of he was good at playing the bad guy. I don't know if he still does. Probably not.
Now he does in Japan. The Japan character he is a bad guy. But when he came back to WWE like a year ago, he turned into a good guy, and he's just really good at. He knows how. Well, he's also a musician.
Yeah,
he has that band Fozzy.
Yeah, I remember that band, and I was always curious if that was like a real band or if it was just part of his character.
Yeah, dude, he played Lubbock in March.
Nice.
And so he knows how to like work a crowd. That's half of wrestling.
Definitely.
Is like feeling a crowd, and then figuring out what is it that I need to do. What are they wanting, and then doing that. So. He's really good at it.
It'd be fun to be the guy that everybody hates, you know?
Yeah. Well, and truthfully, man, like some of your comedy, like you get to do that.
Yeah,
because you say some stuff that like that I know like there's a good like 2 or 3 people at least even at 806 that they're just like, man, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? But it's like awesome because if you understand comedy, like that's part of it. That's part of part of the whole thing.
Definitely, and it's fun to do.
Yeah. I love it. Your stuff's so fucking hilarious.
I mean, it is a joke.
Right.
So.
Right, yeah. That's half of it. The people think that you're like up there like preaching a sermon or something.
People think I'm a Nazi.
Yeah. Yeah. No, these fucking snowflakes.
Fun. It's I think
I'm joking that I don't the snowflake thing.
When I first started, I was like, what's the most like offensive thing I can say to these people at the 806 because they're super liberal? But now it's not. That's not my intention anymore. Now my intention is just like to be funny in my own way.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just it does cross that line still, but it's not. I'm not intentionally going out to being like, who can I offend? You know?
Yeah. No.
Which I was at first.
Yeah, I can believe that. Okay, my favorite thing was, and it's awful. You made the joke about your joke about like the girl that like you didn't know if she wanted you to like she wanted to hook up or not.
Oh yeah.
She's like, I wanted you to like, you know,
hold me down and
right?
pound me.
Yeah. You're telling that joke, and behind you are all these sexual assault pictures, right? This like whole art piece.
I didn't know.
Yeah, Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
I didn't know. I had a lot of jokes about sexual harassment, and I didn't know that those pictures are gonna be up there. So yeah, that was a hard set.
I'm sitting there watching it, and like I'm not dismissing. Like it's important. Like that's an important thing, and
absolutely.
I'm an ally. Like yes, we need like it's important. But you can't lose the irony of you telling that joke. Like, listen, lady, like you can't want to be raped and not want to be raped. Like you need to make up your mind. And you're saying that, and there's like a picture with like someone tape over their mouth saying no means no.
Oh, that's just that situation, man.
It was
man.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
But it was like you couldn't plan a more perfect thing.
It's a bad good environment, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I don't think, like you said, I don't think your intention was to do that. I'm just saying.
And I was the good guy in that scenario.
Right.
Because I didn't do it. You know.
Right.
Like if you look at it from that perspect,
right.
I'm the good person.
Right. If we dissect your joke, yeah, you're the good guy. You're not the heel. Don't like, yeah, exactly. If anything, she was the problem. No.
And then the punchline of the joke was, before that, I was talking about how I was a male feminist. So I was like, I did what a male feminist would do, and I killed her. You know, and that's because I'm on your side. Hashtag me too, ladies. That was the gist of it.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about that part. Every time you tell that joke, I lose it. And I feel so bad because it's like, I don't know.
I like being culturally relevant. And
yeah.
Rape is super relevant, you know.
Yeah.
and so is feminism.
You're right. You're right.
Let's talk about current topics, you know.
Yeah. No, yeah. Oh goodness. So what what are your favorite comics?
Favorite comics?
Like your top 3 guys that you'd listen to all the time.
Top 3 right now. Theo Von.
Okay.
Is my favorite right now. Dave Chappelle's always going to be probably my favorite of all time.
Dude, okay. Can we talk about the bird revelation?
Oh, it was amazing.
I love every bit of that. The way it opened, the way it ended. He's like, it's funny until it happens to you, and then it cuts to, and I was like, that's fucking beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Oh my gosh,
the way he did a special in the belly room of the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
In a tiny ass room where people are right in front of him.
Yeah.
It's super intimate. Like, I thought the other one was good too, but it was so produced. It was just like a special.
Yeah.
And then the Comedy Store was just like, I'm Dave Chappelle. I'm going to the basement to talk shit for an hour. You know? And that was really cool.
And if he disappeared after that special, if he just disappeared again, it would have been perfect. Like it's just he could have disappeared again, and I would have been like, that's a perfect way to go out.
He dropped 4 specials in 1 year.
I know.
Most comics are like, I'm doing an hour this year.
Yeah.
I'll have a new hour next year.
I mean,
no, I got 4, bitch.
Yeah. Well, and dude, homie was like, I mean, he'd been working for like 8 years probably on a lot of, probably half of it, because half of it was relevant. Like that's the thing about Dave is he just gets up on stage and he just talks.
Yeah.
And he's just funny.
Incredibly funny.
Like I was hearing stuff about he would do shows with John Mayer.
Oh yeah, I've heard about
and
that.
So he would do his set, John would do his set, and then they would both be up there and just improvise.
That's awesome.
Like what is insane, man. Dave, yeah, okay. So Dave, okay. And Theo Von's the other one?
Yeah.
Is he on the Spoofy on Spotify?
Spotify, yeah. Theo Von's on Spotify.
Okay.
It's hard to pick 3. Chris D'Elia, I'm big on Chris D'Elia right now.
Take this as a compliment. I expected that.
Really?
Yeah, man. I feel like you guys would play the same rooms. Like you guys are.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
You guys are similar.
I'd be fucking honored. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
D'Elia. So D'Elia was to me, I was introduced to him on Vine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he was big on Vine for a while.
So fucking
That's
funny.
before
on
I even
Vine.
knew who he was. I
Yeah,
saw
dude.
his Vines.
Oh my gosh, his Vines are hilarious. He and Will Sasso are like some of the best guys on Vine.
I didn't know he was on. I gotta check out
Sasso's
Will
the
Sasso
reason
Vines.
Vine blew up.
Really?
Dude, yeah.
Sasso's so fucking funny, dude.
Yeah. So,
Do you follow Sasso on Instagram?
I don't, mainly because like I miss Vine so much that like it just kind of makes me sad because he was like the pioneer for Vine. He did this the lemon vines where he like the famous one is where he's trying to sing "And I Will Always Love You," and he goes and every time he'd like get choked up, and then at the end just a lemon comes out of his mouth and like lemon juice all over the camera. And he did those vines for like 3 months, and then people jumped onto Vine, and then it became Logan Paul's place.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So and then Will Sasso, like after about 2 or 3 years after, like the last year of Vine, Sasso came back and he played this character who was like a Logan Paul character. He's like, "What's up, guys? I'm sponsored." Blah blah blah. And he pretended to be this kid. Sasso's journey through Vine was so cool. But no, D'Elia's freaking.
Yeah,
he's vicious, man. He's so funny, dude.
But then I mean, there's like Anthony Jeselnik and Daniel Tosh, and those are big influences on me, just because I like the not giving a fuck.
Yeah,
like
Tosh was notorious for that.
Yeah, just that attitude is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. No, those are, and as you said those things, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Like, it makes perfect sense for the way that you. Not to say that you don't have your own voice. I'm just saying I can hear those inspirations, right?
No, and like definitely starting out, you kind of don't know what your voice is yet. So
yeah,
you just kind of got to throw out different things.
Totally. Yeah.
see how it goes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I had thought about doing comedy once, and then I just like, I don't know, I my brain is so all over the place all the time. It's just easier for me to be like, okay, if I can just sing a song, that I would rather just sing a song and then move on. Because to try to, I like conversation, so maybe like I'd prefer. I know I'd prefer improv more because I like to feed off of people. But there was a time where I was like listening to nothing but stand up.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, like Pete Holmes.
Oh, Pete Holmes.
Pete
Good.
Holmes is like one of my favorite people.
I always go back to listen to his bit about McDonald's. This party is done.
Yes. I love that. I think it's like the second special. Someone like says it in the middle of the set. Someone in the audience says this. This is McDonald's, and like it makes Pete. My favorite thing about Pete Holmes is that he cracks himself up. And it just makes me happy that he's so joyful about what he does.
It makes me super happy just to see him. He's such a happy person.
Yeah. Like everything he's done has been so good. Like his podcast is
You Made It Weird.
Amazing. Like that's my goal. My goal is to get one of my goals is to be famous enough that I can get on You Made It Weird. That'd be so cool. Just to sit down and talk to Pete Holmes.
One of my goals is to be on the Kill Tony podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it. Oh, it's Tony Hinchcliffe.
Okay.
He's a comedian, and once a week, maybe twice a week, they go to the Comedy Store, and there's a panel of judges. It's like him, and he has a band with him.
Okay.
It's a bunch of comics, and he always has guests that are big name comedians, and they sit there and they pull names out of a hat. It's basically an open mic. People sign up, and they give you a minute to do your best jokes, and then after that minute, they roast you and ask you questions for like 10 minutes straight, and it's so funny.
Oh my gosh,
it's hilarious.
That would be sick.
They just did the 500th episode of the Joe Rogan. It was hilarious because the band's really funny. The band will they'll dress up as different characters. Like one week they'll be convicts, and one week they'll be like strippers. But one of the guys dressed like Joe Rogan. He came out with just like Joe Rogan as Joe Rogan was on there, and it was just hilarious, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy funny.
Okay, so I have Theo Von, the Kill Tony podcast. Okay, I'm writing shit down that I know that I need to look up.
Yeah, have you heard of Ronald Funches?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I was actually gonna play a clip from him earlier, but we went to a different topic.
But
you were talking about wrestling being fake and how you were what'd you call it, a mick or something?
Oh, being a mark.
A mark.
Yeah.
So he has a bit about people telling him it's fake, and it's super funny. I don't know if you've heard it, but here it goes. Oh, there's an ad. Never mind.
Ah, shit.
Just gonna keep talking.
That YouTube Red shit.
I love wrestling.
I love this guy's
I love
voice.
his voice.
People try to make you feel stupid for liking it. They're always like, hey, you know that thing you love with the pageantry and the fireworks and the golden belts. It's fake. And I'm supposed to be like, oh no, you ripped my world asunder. I guess I'll just watch House now. But really, it should be like, well, no shit, it's fake. What type of psychopath would I have to be if I wanted it to be real? Oh, you mean the thing where people have minor disagreements so they body slam each other? And there's a guy who carries around a snake in a bag that he uses to bite his enemies. But it won't work against the Undertaker because he don't got no blood.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot that Funches was
not on the up and up.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. Did you ever watch At Midnight?
Yeah.
I remember there was one time Funches showed up dressed as Ric Flair. It was a Halloween episode.
Oh, nice.
And he was Ric Flair the whole time. Like he would like,
woo!
Yeah, he would woo and he would say all these things like
Yeah.
him. And yeah, no, Funches is hilarious. What's cool too about a lot of these dudes is I remember watching them, like you're seeing those guys becoming the guys. Like
Yeah.
give Funches like 5 years and he's a household name
Yeah.
easily. Like Pete Holmes, for example. Pete Holmes was like moderately successful, but now like with Crashing and all this stuff, like he's one of those guys now.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
And like Theo Von, Crystalia, those guys
Yeah.
are both in their 30s. Like they're gonna get there for sure.
Yeah, easily. You know, and that's what's really cool. On At Midnight, they had all of those guys. So I remember going to South by Southwest in 2010, I think, and the lineup was, we went to a comedy show during South by, and it was Joe DeRosa, who's a guy that did the Pete Holmes show. He was one of the writers. It was Eugene Merman.
Yeah,
Who's
I know both
Bob's
of them.
Burgers. It was
Eugene Merman. Did he have a notepad out? Did he have props?
No, he did. He did the bit where he has the vocoder box where he changes his voice and he like talks.
Oh,
like,
nice.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
pretty funny. Tig Notaro played that.
I haven't seen her perform, but I know who she is.
And then Amy Schumer and Chelsea Peretti also played those.
Ooh.
And this was before all of them did the things that they are currently doing.
Really?
So like
Chelsea Peretti's super funny.
they were just about to like break out.
Mhm.
And it was really cool. I can't remember.
what's up. That's cool as hell.
I can't remember who else. There was one other person that was just like, Donald Glover was supposed to play that show too, and then he like had
Comedy?
to cancel. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, Donald Glover's a beast.
Yeah, I hope he goes back to stand up.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Be awesome.
But yeah, no, that's what's really cool too about about stand up. I just get so fixated on stuff that I start to like I'll keep track and look into the history of people, like bands that I'm really into. I have to know everything about them.
That's fun to do.
And like that's like with stand up too, like to watch like especially like Chelsea Peretti, right? She was hilarious, and then to see her like on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then
Yeah.
to see her become, and even Amy Schumer, like despite what people might think of her or whatever, she seems to be really polarizing, and it's like I don't really see why, but
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's just she had some writers that helped write her jokes for her on her special, and they were very similar to other people's jokes.
Yeah.
And but
Yeah.
I mean, she's not a bad comic by any means.
No. And she's got her thing, right? She's got her gimmick.
Yeah.
And for some people it works and some people it doesn't. But I don't know. I mean, I like to see those people, you know. I think at that point Eugene Merman was probably the biggest guy that played there at that point.
Nice.
So
that's what's up.
But to see all those guys like doing really well is really, really cool.
That is really cool.
So
that's what's up.
Yeah, man.
That's what's up. So who are your biggest influences? I want to talk about comedy, and then we'll talk about music after.
So you want me to talk about comedy?
Or not, I guess
comedy
not influence. Who are your favorite
comics?
Yeah, besides Pete Holmes, I guess.
Okay, so Pete Holmes. I think if you don't say Chappelle, it doesn't. I just feel like he's the guy. You know, like when
he's just understood.
You know, he's like he's on Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got Pryor,
Definitely.
you got Chris Rock, you got Carlin, you got Eddie Murphy, and you have Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is one of those guys. He earned that spot. But yeah, I think Pete Holmes, Mulaney. Mulaney's
so good.
such a classy stand-up.
Yeah, he is.
He's so good. Man, Hannibal Buress. Hannibal's good.
I love Hannibal.
But I think really at the end of the day, the top three guys I'd always listen to, it was Pete Holmes, John Mulaney, and Mike Birbiglia.
Nice. I haven't gotten into Mike Birbiglia.
Birbiglia is just,
check him out.
He's a good storyteller. That's really the thing that really picked up. I think he did that movie Sleepwalk with Me, which was based on his special, and that special is so well put together, because like there's obviously jokes spread throughout of it, but ultimately there's like this streamline that goes all the way through it,
So
and
it like all connects.
Yeah, or I mean there are and things just sort of like lead into other things, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's fun to do.
Yeah, and so
segues.
Yeah, and like to have like really good callbacks is like a really cool thing for comedy. You know, to
definitely.
You know, and if they work. So I probably those are the guys. Old comics. It took me this year to actually like appreciate Seinfeld. Because I've never really been huge into him. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
I watched his last special. I kind of zoned in
Sure.
and out.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the nature of, he's just like, he does his thing and he doesn't really care. You know, he's going to do his thing, and the people who like him are going to like him.
He's still going to be one of the biggest comedians of all time.
Louis was one of my favorite.
I still love Louis.
Yeah.
I think his next special is going to be great.
You think he'll have one?
I think he will. I think he has to address it.
That's true.
And I think he'll address it in a funny way.
That's true. Oh, yeah. That's going to be good.
Because I know he's performing in New York. I know he's
really?
Still working on stuff. Yeah,
that'll be.
He's
good.
Probably trying to lay low for a while. Maybe he'll wait. Maybe he'll wait some more time. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why I said was, because at the end of the day, like I still like think Bill Cosby himself is like one of the best albums.
Yeah,
ever.
I mean,
and that's the hard thing is like how do you?
Yeah, you can't separate the art.
Yeah, how do you deal with these people who have? And to be fair, like. Not to split hairs, ultimately, like Louis did some stupid shit.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, like, there are things that he said that are, like, for comedy's sake, still really funny.
Did you watch his latest special? He came out and he said his first bit was about abortion. I don't remember how he started it. But he was like, it's kind of like killing a baby. And he kept talking more about it. He's like, all right, fine. It's totally killing a baby. But you should be allowed to do it.
Right, yeah. And, well, I mean, even his bits on when he did SNL the last 2 years were always really good.
Oh, those were really good.
And Chappelle's bit on SNL was really good, too.
Yeah, I forgot what Louis said. Something about, I don't know. It was like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Something about a kid. Like murdering a kid or raping a kid or something.
Oh, no, he was talking about pedophilia.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and he was just like, you know, like, if you're a pedophile, like, and that is the peak of what makes you happy, like, it's got to be pretty great for you. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, people didn't know how to react to it. He's like, I'm not saying that, like, pedophilia is good. I'm just saying if you're a pedophile, this thing, you know, I just feel icky saying it, too.
Yeah.
But he's got the balls to do it, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so
good stuff.
Louis good too, but I think my go-tos are like Holmes, Mulaney, and Birbiglia at the end of the day.
That's
So,
what's up. That's
yeah,
what's
man.
up.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna go off on something, but I forgot what it was, man. Mulaney's good. Was it Seinfeld? I don't know. We'll move on. Who
Yeah.
were your? I had no idea you were such a comedy fan. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. I love it.
Oh, that's what I was gonna talk about. I wrote it down. You were talking about separating the art. Like Bill Cosby's still a great comedian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Louis C.K. is still a great comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, do you know that guy who got shot recently? XXX
Yeah.
Tentacion.
Yeah.
And it's like I like his music, but
Mhm.
he might have assaulted a pregnant woman.
Right. Yeah.
And everything else, and it's
Right.
just like
Yeah.
I want to make that into a bit and just be like, you know, like what if Journey came out and they were like, you know that song "Don't Stop Believing"? Jeffrey Dahmer wrote that. Like you're not gonna just stop believing just because Jeffrey Dahmer.
Right.
Like it's still a good song.
Right.
It's still a good song.
Yeah. No. Yes. Oh my gosh. You have to do that. That'd be so good.
Yeah, I'll
No,
write
yeah.
it out.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, that's the stuff that's so. It's. I didn't listen to X, but like it's the same argument.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the argument whenever anybody like. Anything traumatic happens to people who are in the spotlight, whether it's like these allegations against these people or like even like being killed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like there's this like line of like, you know, at the end of the day, everyone is a human,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like there is an amount of like we need to still find a way to find something salvageable to
Mm-hmm.
like not dehumanize them.
Yeah.
And that's a hard line to play because it's like, well, Hitler was a human. It's like, yeah, but Hitler was a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
But that's probably one of my favorite parts of the Bird Revelation on Chappelle's special is when he talks about Mandela and apartheid. And he's like, apartheid should have been like the bloodiest fucking thing ever, but it wasn't. And you know why? It's because they were like everybody owned what they did. They said what they did, and you had this confession and reconciliation that happened, and everybody was saying this is what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and people being honest about that and owning their mistakes, like that's got to happen. You know what I mean? Cosby never did.
Yeah.
You know, and that's unfortunate on his end,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's crazy.
The hope is that he will eventually.
It still blows my mind to think about it.
Yeah.
Like Bill Cosby's. He probably did that for what, like 30 years?
Yeah, dude. At least 3 decades. Yeah, totally. And just still denies it.
And then like from what I've heard, like there was a time where just slipping a woman a Mickey was like acceptable in society. Like I just slipped her a pill and we had a good night. Like that's crazy.
Hollywood is fucked.
Yeah, 100%.
It's ridiculous,
100%.
man. It's ridiculous. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Terry Crews got assaulted.
Yeah,
the
dude.
biggest dude in Hollywood.
Right. Did you see the shit 50 said about him? 50 Cent?
Yeah. 50's a clown.
Yeah.
People are trying to get on to 50, but that's just what 50 Cent does.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Terry Crews is a good dude too.
Super good.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, this whole like just kind of like that's the thing is it's not a witch hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a legit like these are like legit things that need to be addressed.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I
then
mean?
there's, if you're up there, like the Weinstein level,
Yeah.
they have people protecting them. They have people saying he would never do that.
Right.
And, you know, those people know that he's been.
Everybody has a Kellyanne Conway
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
or a Sarah Sanders.
Huckabee.
Did you watch the Correspondence Dinner with Michelle Wolf?
I watched. I didn't watch all of it,
Oh goodness!
but she was killing it.
She went after him.
Yeah.
It was
It was so funny to see
Yeah.
the Republicans just be like, we voted for this guy because he's brash and he says what he wants and he's not afraid to make fun of people.
right.
Oh my God, why is she doing this? Like, what is wrong with? Do you even hear yourself?
Right.
Like, what?
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's people don't know how to take a joke, I guess.
They really don't, man. It's so funny because the Republicans spend all their time calling other people snowflakes until
Yeah.
they get made fun of, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God!"
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's frustrating.
That's funny. It's funny because I used to think I was a Republican. And then I was like, oh, never mind. Y'all are crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not anything anymore.
No, yeah, dude. Yeah, political parties are almost. I feel like they should just be. They should just not be. They're both just so. Out there.
Yeah.
Both sides of just like they're so. There's such an overcorrection. You know, they're like, well, this happened, and then, it just keeps immensely becoming more and more extreme. People are afraid to be moderate. People are afraid to be in the middle, which ultimately that's the population, right? But like the pageantry of like the news now and the how much of a I can't even explain. Like it's so hard to try to figure out how we got here.
Yeah, I mean the news isn't even the news anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's just great. It's ridiculous. Everything's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I think we're either going to have a civil war or, like, the younger generation is going to come up and be like, hey, we're not doing this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that's
yeah, hopefully that's what happens.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully we don't, like, tear ourselves apart, you know. We're close. I don't know. I think we all value being comfortable too much that, like, at the end of the day, it's like, fuck it. I just want my TV.
Well, like,
do whatever.
I think the other generations didn't get this bad because like they had other things to deal with, you know, like they had Pearl Harbor and World War I and II and the Holocaust and like maybe I'm not saying we need a world war, but
yeah.
I mean,
no, yeah, I mean you even look at 9/11.
Yeah, 9/11 brought a lot of people together.
Yeah, yeah, that lasted a lot. That lasted a while, didn't it? Like I mean, it was 2001. Okay, yeah, so it's been over a decade, right? You know, so almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years.
So yeah, I don't want anything horrible to happen, but I was just listening to, who was I listening to on the way here? It was an artist, his name is John Mark McMillan. He was talking about, like how, like change, like a lot of times change comes from like painful, comes from pain.
Absolutely.
Right? And that also, made me think about, did you ever see Little Miss Sunshine? Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, where the granddad like died in the van.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the takeaway from that movie.
That's the only part I remember.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty. You didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
I think honestly, like Little Miss Sunshine is probably one of my favorite movies. But there's a whole scene with Steve Carell and Paul Dano.
Steve Carell, okay.
Yeah,
is Paul Rudd in that movie?
No.
Okay, yeah, I was replacing Paul Rudd in my head with Steve Carell.
Yeah, so Steve Carell and Paul Dano is the guy from, I think he was in There Will Be Blood, or is it Country for Old Men? I get those movies mixed up. It's one of those. Anyway, Paul Dano is the kid, and they're outside near the end of the movie, and the kid, he's like, you know, I just wish that I could like skip like high school all the way through college and just be where I'm supposed to be. In Carell's character, he plays like this Proust scholar, so he teaches about this author, and he says I don't remember what his actual name is, but Proust. He tells the kid, he's like, Proust was this guy who he was like gay. He was had a lot of unrequited love affairs. He was just immensely depressed. All these horrible things that happened to him. And at the end of Proust's life, he says that it was the suffering in my life that made me who I am, and it actually helped me become the person that I wanted to be. And then he looks at the kid and he's like, then to think if you skipped all of these years from like 18 to whatever, like think of all the suffering that you're missing out on, right? Because suffering is what makes you better. You know, I have to look at that in my own life, just everything, all the loss that I've had, like
beauty comes from that,
right? And now I know the kind of person that I want to be, that I wouldn't have known had everything stayed fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the yin and the yang of the universe.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like good can't exist without bad.
So, totally.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that motivates a lot of people to become artists, singers, anything.
Yeah.
Anything creative. It's just you went through some stuff.
Yeah. It's Carrie Fisher has that quote, "Take your broken heart, turn it into art." Right?
That's a good quote.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's I mean, that's why art is so compelling, is because like it you connect. That's my favorite thing. That's why I play covers at 806 most of the time. Obviously they're like obscure and old, and I realize I keep forgetting that I'm like at least a decade older than probably a lot of the people that I'm playing for at 806.
Youngins in there.
But I try to play stuff that I think people might know because my favorite thing in playing music is to connect with people.
Yeah.
I want people to be able to participate.
Oh, you do well at that, man.
So thanks. I appreciate
You
that.
have an awesome voice too.
Oh, thanks, dude. I forgot. I brought my guitar and I didn't even think about bringing it in. But I like doing this, man. I'd love to come talk more.
For sure, man. But it's a good time. It's always a good time.
I think that that's what's so cool about art is it gives us an opportunity. It's exactly what we're looking for. Is we're looking for connection. Community is so important, even for like the most introverted introvert, right? Like at the end of the day, like that person probably still has like that one person that makes them happy. And I think that to have art be something that helps us connect and what's the word that I'm looking for? Commiserate with each other, right? To not feel alone, to not feel like, oh man, this experience I'm going through, I'm the only one. That's just not the case, you know.
For sure.
You know, people. I try to tell people this. I heard the guy from I don't know if you ever heard the band Hotel Books.
No.
Okay, so it's like a spoken word, like post-hardcore band. And he just like pretty much does spoken word poetry over this like really beautiful heavy music. And
that sounds cool.
It's amazing. He said at the end of the set, he said the important thing is that, you know, with all of our pain and everybody's going through all of these experiences, and the hope is that we can learn that we're not alone in those, that other people have been through them, and not to dismiss our pain and grief, because I think it's important, but to know that it doesn't have to rule you. And the things that he says at the end is like, it's important that we have love and compassion for each other rather than like hatred and like misunderstanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he says, if there's one thing I can ask of you, it's to stay alive and then to do your best to help other people stay alive. And in order to do that, we have to be compassionate and empathetic about what people are going through. And art is such an easy way to do that. And I would say that comedy is included in that. I think comedy, music, painting, photography, all of these creative things that those are ways we connect, you know, whether they be through laughter or through grief, you know.
Definitely.
Like, because all the stuff I've written has all been really sad right now. But at the end of the day, it's about connecting, being like, hey, you're not alone.
Yeah.
There's people who feel this way.
And that
like
helps. That helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've never had like anxiety, depression, or anything, but like one of my favorite artists of all time is Kid Cudi, and I started listening to him in high school, and I was just like, man, this guy, I feel like he's talking to me. You know, like I definitely feel like he's talking directly to me.
Yeah.
And that's why like I was drawn to it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Art is such a wonderful thing to have. And just kind of where I land, like, you know, I have to credit the divine, because I mean, at the end of the day, you look at when I look at what I don't necessarily know how I believe about creation, but even just the narrative in Genesis of God creating everything, right? Whether that's literally or if it's a metaphor, either way, the reality is that there was a being that spoke and created things, right? And then
spoke it into existence,
right? And he made it.
That's beautiful.
And then ultimately, the people he made, which in some instances are called image bearers, I would say humans are image bearers of this creative divine being.
Yeah.
They are ultimately just echoing what he's done, or she, or it, whatever. They're echoing the divine by creating.
Yeah.
And there's something to that. There's something beautiful about that, whether it be through laughter or through pain.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you're creating something, and dude, there's something deeply just like spirit gratifying. Not even just like, not just like physically, like we laugh and we feel good, or mentally the dopamine in our head, but even just like at a deeper spiritual aspect, it makes us feel we're the most human, I think, when we're creating.
That's like awesome. I got to go back and listen to that. Damn, that was cool as hell. We're most human when we're creating.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Wow. Like, I totally got lost in what I was going to say. It's just...
I hate when I do that. I don't want to make people lose track of what they're wanting to say. But
no, that was awesome. That was awesome. We're the most human when we're creating.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And that's, I was listening to this guy named Jordan Peterson on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about like archetypes and like biblical stories and how those keep reoccurring, whether we intend them to or not. They keep reoccurring in like our movies, movie themes, books, everything. Totally. Like it's kind of like that code, that sequence, Fibonacci sequence. Like it just occurs naturally, and it's not even that we necessarily plan it, but it occurs naturally in like in our environments, in our music, in our poetry, everything. And it's just like, damn, you know?
Yeah, you can't escape it.
That's creation.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
It's mind blowing.
Did you listen to did you listen to the kids? What was it called?
Kids See Ghosts?
Yeah, did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it, man.
Like this shit Kanye is dropping is like, because like he produced that's the Kid Cudi project with Kanye, right?
Yeah.
Like
super dope.
I haven't had a chance to listen to. I listened to the Nas project.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too,
dude. And I'm not like I just started listening to Kanye like over the last year.
Oh really?
Chance made me listen to Kanye.
Bro, you got to listen to Kanye's older stuff. You got to listen to College Dropout, Late Registration.
Okay, so I remember when Through the Wire dropped, like the first single.
Yeah.
And I like immediately I'm like, this guy's cool. And then I think the next thing I remember was Gold Digger. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. You know.
No, he's got so many classics.
Dude, yeah. And Kanye's I hated to admit it for a bit, but like no, Kanye's like he's one of the goats, man.
Definitely.
And
100%.
Yeah. So when you mentioned Kid Cudi, he's a guy that keeps coming up when I think, because like I've been really I'm really into hip hop. When I was a kid, I swore I'd never listen to rock music. I was just gonna listen to hip hop, and now I'm playing in a metal band, right? I was like, I remember when Chronic 2000 came out.
Oh man,
and just like loving that, just West Coast hip hop was where it was
loves
at.
The Chronic.
Yeah, dude. You know, and like Dre and dude, stuff like that was just so. I was only gonna listen to that. And so then, like, as I got older and I started, because there was a season of hip hop where it was like the Dirty South hip hop that was just radio singles, and like people weren't really saying anything.
You mean like early 2000s?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see. I know what you're talking about.
And these aren't knocks on guys, but like Luda, you know.
Yeah, like Nelly.
Yeah.
T.I. I still like T.I.
And T.I. like I think T.I. transcended that.
Yeah. Them franchise boys.
Yeah, but like there there was like this like season of hip hop that was just
Lil Jon.
yeah. There's something.
Really
like,
not saying
man,
anything.
how could the South like ruin such a beautiful art form? Not that they ruined it, but you know, because like in the 80s and 90s, like artists were like saying shit.
Yeah,
they had things they had to say.
Like hip hop came out like super intelligent.
Yeah,
like, it was more like spreading awareness.
Yeah. Of
like the government and everything.
Yeah, dude. And so I remember when Lupe Fiasco dropped Kick Push.
Yeah, Lupe is a really good one.
Yeah,
really good.
And to me, in my brain, just because at that point I was so far removed from hip hop, because I assumed everything was just Dirty South hip hop. And then Lupe dropped this thing, and he's like got skateboarders and skinny jeans, and he's like, it feels very artistic again. And I was like, okay, so maybe hip hop's changing, and then I start seeing like guys like Kendrick, like doing, you know, granted, like Kendrick did "Don't Kill My Vibe," and I'm like, oh, okay,
don't kill my vibe.
You know what I mean? But then,
I feel like even on those songs, he still has like a deeper message.
Oh, totally. And you just have to, and that's the thing. Like I can't listen to just singles. Like
like that "Pull Up Drink." That song's actually against alcoholism, but I mean, on the surface, you're like, oh, it's a party song, but it's actually not a party song.
Right. Yeah. And I just love stuff like that. When To Pimp a Butterfly came out, I remember
I love that album so much.
Dude, so at that point I'd already created the habit of like listening to an album front to back, because a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah. You miss a lot.
Yeah.
That's why Tool, I don't know if you listen to Tool, but they don't stream any of their music, because they want you to buy the whole thing and listen to it from beginning to end.
That's why vinyl's so compelling to me, and why I'm so interested in it.
Oh, because you can't skip tracks.
Yeah, you have to let it play. You have to sit down. You have to enjoy the whole album. And there's something about just like taking it sounds so fucking pretentious. There's something about taking the record off and turning it around and setting the needle on it.
Oh, like like having that physical.
Yeah, it's
art.
It's great. I loved. I mean, I don't. I try not to buy video games online. I try not to buy music online. I'll stream music, but like that's just because I don't like silence.
Yeah.
Like in the car. But like if I'm gonna buy music, like I'm gonna pay money.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna buy a vinyl or I'm gonna buy a CD because I'd rather have.
I need to get a record player.
Own that, you know. But yeah, when To Pimp a Butterfly came out, I remember just being so.
That's such a powerful album, man.
Yeah,
that's
so
when I
good.
was like, Kendrick. That he just solidified himself as the GOAT. Like I loved Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah.
But To Pimp a Butterfly was just like the cherry on top. Like
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah,
you got it.
Butterfly was like. Good Kid was a good album, and then Butterfly just improved what Good Kid was doing because Good Kid was telling a story too.
Yeah.
But To Pimp
Great
a Butterfly,
story, too.
To Pimp a Butterfly was just telling such an interesting story in such an
Crazy.
interesting way.
Yeah, the Tupac interview you did. At the
I
end.
lost my mind when the first time I heard that. I was
That
like,
was
"Oh my
crazy.
gosh, what are you doing?" Like, yeah, it's great.
It was originally supposed to be To Pimp a Caterpillar, and it would spell out Tupac.
Holy shit, that's
Yeah.
true. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. But no, Kendrick and then I don't know, I'm just like a really big sucker for like old sounds too.
Yeah,
And
the
that's
jazz,
the
influence
jazz
is
and
awesome on that
funk
album.
and all that stuff in that album.
Section
just made
82.
me-
I don't know if you listen to Section 80, but that's heavy jazz influence on that one as well.
my one of the guys I work with, he keeps telling me to listen to that and listen to Good Kid. I haven't dissected Good Kid as much as I have like Damn and To Pimp a Butterfly.
Damn's really good.
Damn's really good. I just remember like 3 days after the album dropped, like Reddit already had a theory of how it's actually 2 albums and all of this stuff. And,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I
And-
like the way it loops at the end.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy too. So I have 2 playlists. I have a Damn and I have a Nation album. Because you take every other track of Damn, flip it, and that's the other album.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so
I think
like
I've read something
yeah,
about
so
that.
like the album is all about choices.
So you play it from the end to the beginning.
Yeah, so one starts with like DNA, I think, and one starts with Duckworth. Let me look because it blows my mind how much it kind of works. So Damn starts with God and then plays Triple X, Lust,
God?
Pride, Feel, Yeah,
God?
and then ends with Blood. So it ends with the one. Is Blood the beginning of the track? I can't remember. Yeah.
Is it weakness?
Yeah. And then Nation starts with DNA and ends with Duckworth.
Okay.
And they both work, right? Because like
Yeah.
it's all about choices, and each track in the full album are like contradicting ideas. So the first 2 tracks are things that kind of contradict, and so on and so forth. Like you have Love and Lust, and you have
Love and Lust.
I don't know, man. It was a
Give me a
good
rub
Kendrick's
on my money.
Kendrick's ridiculous.
I gotta go back and listen to that now.
Yeah.
All the songs are in my head.
Yeah, it's a good album.
But you haven't listened all the way through to Good Kid, Mad City?
I mean, I've listened to it, but it was like in the car.
Oh, okay.
So I want to sit down and like really
Yeah, when
listen to
when
it.
Kendrick drops an album or like anyone that's lyrical that I enjoy, I go on to I look up their lyrics as the song as I listen to the album.
Yeah, that's like with it's like with J. Cole too, like
definitely.
Forest Hill Drive, whatever the name of it. I think that's the name of the album.
Forest Hill Drive.
That album, when I sat down and listened to it, I was like, okay. I didn't really pay much attention to J. Cole. I did not pay. I had such a bias to hip hop for so long because like 2000 sort of burned me on it. So I was just like, okay, like this is what's happening to hip hop, you know. But I'm really glad I got back into it before like the whole trap scene started. These like new guys, all the Lils, all the Littles came out like before
Lil OD.
But when those guys like, because I'm pretty sure if I hadn't gotten back in, I would have just seen all those Littles and been, still had this bias of like, oh, okay, yeah, hip hop's no different, you know. But I think streaming made it so easy that you can find lyrical hip hop.
Yeah, you can find anything.
Yeah. So
I've expanded so much musically just from Spotify.
yeah. It's a gift and a curse, I think. Because it makes making music and making a living off of music a lot harder.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it is helpful in that you can get your name out there, but that means everybody can get their name out there.
Mm-hmm.
If you have GarageBand, or even like, because Audacity, I did a couple songs on Audacity for a long time when I had a PC.
Nice.
But
yeah, I've recorded a band on Audacity.
Yeah.
They were on my second podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like if you have that, you can literally you can put out an album or put out an EP, and everybody can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a bit in not a bit, it was a joke in I don't know if you ever saw Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
No, I didn't.
So it's a Michael Cera film with Kat Dennings.
Wait, like he directed it?
No, like he's in it.
Oh, okay.
But it's like this premise of like this. It's so strange. It's like it takes place over the course of one night in New York. They meet up at this club, and then they just kind of travel through New York together and just talk about music. It's such a beautiful movie, but
It's a cool concept.
it's really cool, and it's like everything that I
TV
was
show
really
like that.
into. It was everything I was really into, but they make that joke. It's like, well, any band who has GarageBand can just put their name out. So it's like anybody who's important that you want people to see your music, like you have to you have to work a lot harder now.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think it's good.
Yeah, it could be a good thing and a bad thing. But
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that guys like Chance the Rapper and like Joey Badass can exist.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't know who they were if it wasn't for the internet.
Right.
Like they'd have to go through a label, and they'd have to, maybe not necessarily. They wouldn't have as much freedom creatively.
Right.
Or maybe they would. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but that's the way it seems.
I'd have to imagine, like, depending on the label.
Yeah. Like
I think also with hip hop, I think there's a lot more pressure to make singles.
Yeah.
Because hip
Definitely.
hop is now like statistically the highest listened to genre in music. Like it's the most popular genre of
and
music.
that Tekashi 6ix9ine dude, he's basically only dropping singles,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have a label. That's just
Yeah.
he's doing all that just off social media,
Right.
and that's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane because like also like I have to look at it from like playing in rock music. Hip hop is definitely also just hurting the rock industry in general. Like as far as like even you look at guitar companies.
Yeah.
Obviously like Gibson. There are other reasons why Gibson is like struggling, but a lot of these guitar companies and even like Guitar Center, like these companies are filing for bankruptcy because everybody's buying like MIDI controllers and just like making hip hop. Like anybody can
Yeah.
make music just with like a keyboard.
Yeah.
You don't need guitars anymore. Like there was like this whole article I read where like kids aren't making music with guitars anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and
I hate seeing that. I mean, I guess I don't hate it, but those bands where they're just with the little soundboard.
Yeah.
Like, pull me closer.
Yeah.
Over and like.
yeah.
It sounds cool, but there's no real instruments.
Right. Yeah. And I think it'd be cool. It's cool to have like that's why I like really enjoy when I see Chance play. Chance has like this whole collective of people from Chicago, of musicians. Like anytime I've seen him play live, he's got like
trumpets.
Yeah, he's got Donnie trumpet, he's got Sticks, right? The guy in the drums. You have this awesome group of people who are really good musicians, and they mix that with like the hip hop stuff that he's doing, and I love that.
Yeah.
It's so cool too, man. You should look up. It's a band called Kids These Days, and they're from Chicago.
Kids these days.
Did
they collaborate with Chance the Rapper?
Well, they were before Chance. So Kids These Days is a band comprised of Vic Mensa.
Vic Mensa. Okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about
then half of Chance's band was in this group.
I didn't know it was Chance's band, but I've heard like 2 or 3 songs from him.
And also the I can't remember what they're called.
I like Vic a lot too.
The Social Experiment.
Yeah.
And like the Donnie Trumpet stuff.
I remember when that came out.
Yeah.
Man.
All of that stuff is like kids these days were also the same people. Just this whole like creative collective of people in Chicago.
Have you listened to the internet? They used to be part of Odd Futures Collective. Well, I guess they still are part of Odd Futures Collective, but this girl named Sid. You should check out the internet. They do they're really cool. They you've heard of Odd Future, like Tyler the Creator and all that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's like Sid, the girl they always talk about, is like Taco's lesbian sister or whatever, but she's the lead singer of the internet, and they're
cool.
super dope. And they did an album with Mac Miller. I forgot what it's called. It's like in Mac Miller in Outer Space or something.
Yeah.
And they just did all his music, all his songs live. They rehashed them.
Oh, nice.
And like it's super dope.
Yeah. I'll have to look at Tyler. Anything Tyler is a part of, I have a hard time getting into just because like he's so strange.
Yeah.
He's just like a weird dude.
He's super like
But artsy. I watched his like Tiny Desk concert on NPR. And before I saw that, I was just like, oh, this guy's a clown, right? He's just like goofy for the sake of being, like, he's just a goofy dude. And then I saw him play that, and I'm just like, damn it, now I have to like this guy. 'Cause, like, he's like, actually, not that I didn't like him, but I was just apprehensive until I saw that, like dude's actually really thoughtful about what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's just a goofy guy.
Yeah.
And he has fun with it.
He's came a long way. Like
Yeah.
if you go like back to when he was 17, talking about suicide and the devil.
Yeah.
And now he's talking about flowers and
Yeah.
It's just the use of the colors he uses.
Yeah.
Is just cool.
He's like there. So there's this one guy that I used to not necessarily run around with, but he was in the same circles with me for at given different times. And he was just like this, like, just kind of like elusively weird dude. Like he was such a hipster, like an honest hipster. He just liked weird things and the weird aesthetic of what I imagine like hipsters are. And it was just so frustrating because I couldn't understand. I deeply care what people think about me, like a lot. And this guy was just like, nah, and he just dripped coolness, and I hated him for it.
Those people are always cool.
You know, and it's like you just have this ability to not care and just be. And Tyler does that. Tyler doesn't care. He does not give a shit what you think, and he does what he thinks is funny or what he thinks is good, and he just does it. And I want to be able to harness that, where I just be like, dude, whatever.
Those are the funnest people to be around.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
So
I've been a big Tyler fan since I was 17, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy to watch like the evolution of that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's so strange too, because like to talk so much about like hip hop. Like there's nothing hip hop about what I do.
Yeah.
But like hip hop is what I actually I think some of the first albums I ever owned were like hip hop albums. It wasn't until like middle school. It was honestly once like the early 2000s hip hop scene pushed me away from it that I'm just like, okay, I want to find something else. And then I found Blink-182, and it's like,
nice.
That's it, you know.
What was do you remember like the very first album you had?
So the very first album I ever got. So there were two CDs I got for Christmas one year, and it was the Men in Black soundtrack, the first film.
Here comes the Men
Oh
in
yeah,
Black.
man! And then Hanson's Bop.
I have no idea what that one is.
You have no idea who Hanson is.
Hanson,
like bop doop dop ba doo wop. Yeah,
that's Hanson.
That's Hanson. This is a group of 3 prepubescent kids playing rock and roll music. That was the first album. Those are the first albums I ever owned.
That's funny. I used to hear that song a lot when I worked at Shoe Carnival.
Yeah,
there's songs in my head that I just know as Shoe Carnival songs now,
right?
Because they'll always be ingrained in my brain.
That sounds like a Shoe Carnival song,
right?
Yeah, but yeah, that was the first. And then I think the other album I got was Christina Aguilera's. I don't remember what it was called, but it was the Genie in a Bottle album, whatever that one had.
Oh, nice.
And the only reason I got that was because I'd heard Genie on a Bottle on the radio, and they edited a word, and I didn't know what the word was, and we didn't have the internet, and I was like, well, damn it, I'll get the album so I can know what she said. And it was like sexy or something.
Oh,
it was
funny.
some lame word. It wasn't even like a explicit word.
That's funny.
And so now I had this Christina Aguilera album.
Hell yeah.
So
that's a good song.
It's a good song.
I don't know her other songs very well, but that's a good one.
I don't either. So, but yeah, those were the things that I first owned.
The oldest, or like the
NSYNC self-titled. I had that on
memory
cassette.
I have of an album is Eminem's Curtain Call.
Yeah.
And I don't know why my mom let me listen to that, but
yeah.
But it was a good album. I
yeah.
mean, there was a lot of stuff I didn't understand, probably,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like 7, but
yeah. Yeah.
Still interesting.
That was the one. So Curtain Call, it goes the Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers, then it goes Encore and then Curtain Call, or Curtain Call Encore.
I think it's I can look real quick.
I don't
even
remember.
know.
Because I just remember when the Marshall Mathers LP dropped, and loving that album.
Did that have Kim on it?
I don't know if Kim was on that one.
Oh no, it had that one.
It had whatever you say, or you say I am.
Whatever you say, I am.
If I wasn't, then why would you say I am?
Okay, it was the Eminem show. Came out in 2002,
Okay.
and then Encore came out in 2004.
Okay, and then Curtain Call, right?
And then Relapse.
Did you like Relapse?
Relapse. It had some good songs, some not. You could tell he was going crazy at that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, Relapse is, I guess, Recovery. Recovery had some good songs too, but after that, just kind of like, nah.
I heard his new album wasn't great.
I didn't like it at all, to be honest with you.
Did you listen to Dre's new album that he dropped? Like,
Dre?
yeah, Dr. Dre dropped an album 2 years ago, I think.
Oh, was it called?
I don't remember what it was called. I never listened to it.
It's called like Compton or something.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It was like right around the time that the Straight Outta Compton movie came out.
But no, I didn't listen to that one.
Yeah.
Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah.
Okay, Kill You.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wanna fuck with Shady, 'cause Shady will fucking kill you. But I'ma kill you. I like that song. That's a good song.
Yeah. Yeah. Old Eminem was crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun. But
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Once Shady stopped bleaching his hair, he got boring. So, but yeah, man, hip hop was always really something. But yeah, in middle school, I started listening to that whole emo scene, right? So, like pop punk emo stuff. So it was, like Blink and Newfound Glory, and you had Simple Plan.
Yeah,
Sum 41.
I remember all those bands when I was younger.
Yeah. So
that was a good time.
Yeah, that was the also just like I was like so into like the girls that were into that scene.
Oh, okay.
That was I think half of it was like the girls that were into that. I was like I want to go to those people.
I think I had a Good Charlotte album too.
Yeah,
I liked those guys.
Good Charlotte was sick. They still do. So the brothers did like this like album I have on vinyl. Somehow I got a hold of it. It was called the Madden Brothers, and it was like this like mixture of like hip hop and rock. It was interesting because one of the brothers like DJ'd for a bit. He did some like electronic and like hip hop stuff.
Well, I remember they collaborated with some rappers. I don't know who they were on a video game. Like they were on a video game song, NFL Street.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Those guys were interesting because I think like Good Charlotte was like one of those things where like a label was like, hey, we have this kind of image we want to build a band based on an image, so you guys like learn these instruments, and then that's what they did.
Nice.
It's kind of like the Sex Pistols. Like the Sex Pistols was that way too.
Really?
Yeah, like Michael, or is it Michael McLaren? I can't remember what his actual name was. He was this guy. He's just a record producer of some sort. He was trying to build a punk band because like the punk era was like really blowing up in the 70s, and they were like, okay, well, let's do this band called the Sex Pistols, like based on this like store that was there in the UK, and I don't know a lot about it. I had to do like a paper on Johnny Rotten, so I learned a little bit about it. But essentially, like they saw Johnny Rotten, they saw Sid Vicious, and they liked their look, and they're like, hey, do you want to do this band? And so they started the Sex Pistols, because like really the guitar player, I can't remember his name, like midway through the Sex Pistols, he's like, I want to play like music like the Beatles. But at that point they're like, we got to be the Sex Pistols. So
movement's going somewhere else.
Yeah. So they were doing punk music, and like those guys like had no reservations about like they were doing it for money. I don't think Good Charlotte was doing that for money. Like at the end of the day, like they're not the same, but it's kind of the same premise. Like there's like an image that was working at the time.
It's interesting.
So they tried to do that.
Didn't like Sid Vicious like cut himself on stage? Am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah, no. Well, I'm sure he did. Sid Vicious was just like such a crazy dude.
Like he would just be like bleeding from his chest.
Yeah, well, and dude couldn't play music.
Really?
Like they never plugged him in.
For real?
Yeah.
Whoa.
He was just up there, just flailing around like a maniac. and they'd never had his guitar plugged in.
Slipknot has a guy like that.
Yeah. Well, Slipknot has like a shit ton of guys up there. So yeah, you have to have some guys that just flail around. Yeah, dude, Sid was like he was, not to minimize like the effect that Sex Pistols had on the music scene, but
I mean, I honestly know very little about the Sex Pistols,
but like
other than their image.
Yeah, no, Sid was, he was the face. Like when you think of punk rock music, like you think Sid Vicious, like he was the embodiment of punk. And he was crazy. That his whole story is so just tragic. Just, drug abuse, and his like parents, like his mom enabled him. He was like a heroin addict, and his mom was the reason that he was. You know, like his mom would give him drugs, and that ultimately is what killed him and Nancy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's
insane.
That seems to be a theme in
Yeah.
the rock.
It's I think as
Community.
entertainers, man, like you feed off of people, and people make you really happy when they respond well. And at some point, that adrenaline like is not enough. So you either have to find a way to balance it out, or you just find a way to keep that high. And that's why people go to all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, heroin. Scary stuff.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
I'll stick with weed,
Yeah.
but I don't smoke it, guys. So, just heard about it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Good old Sex Pistols.
Yeah. So. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I forgot to to play the music that I never did the intro song.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So I can just play. You want me to play that Yellow Card cover?
Dude, play. Go ahead and play. Play Critical. Is that on there? Is
Let's
that one
see.
of them that's on there?
Critical, yeah.
Yeah, play that one. It's
All
not
right.
as sad. I just don't want to end like sad. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. It's a little happier.
Like the beginning.
Yeah.
All right, now you can.
Can I talk over it?
Yeah, you can annotate, do the lyrics, do the behind the scenes.
Oh, sure, man. Well,
Commentary.
I didn't write this song.
Commentary from Remy Todd.
Yeah, it's by a band called State Champs.
I've always wanted what I can't have.
I heard they actually lost.
The State Champs? Yeah.
Putting my shoulder to the wheel.
The story about all these songs is I tried to do them in like one take.
Really?
The covers I've tried to just sit down and record once, and then add on to it. So.
On a dial tone because I love and lost the cause, and that's enough to never let you forget me. We've been gone for too long.
You remind me of Fall Out Boy.
Yeah. Well, see, yeah, State Champ's like a current pop punk band, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's really what I try to play. So I dig them, but this is the only song. Like the guy I was supposed to go on tour with, he told me about him. So
Remember the time you asked me to let go.
Yeah.
Where do you want me to begin?
So I did all these claps, like 8 different takes of claps, and then like staggered them because I was by myself. It felt so sad.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah. So I should have originals up for the end of the month, hopefully, too. So
Do you, it sounds like there's like your voices. I don't know how to put it. Like there's 2 voices.
yeah.
Like how do you do that? You
So-
just layer them on top of each other?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the main thing, like so the guitar and the vocal, I'll do one track, so one take of that, and then I'll go back and record other things on top of it. But the goal is with the covers is to do them all of the things at least just once. So I'm gonna it'll take me maybe at most 3 hours to do it. So yeah, so I'll do the guitar and vocal, the main vocal, and then I'll go back and I'll record harmonies. I'll go back and record tambourine, and so on and so forth.
That's legit.
But I try to do it just once or twice. There's some that I've done like I'll do a couple of times just because I fuck up or something. But
Oh, yeah, and you do all this in Audacity, or do you have like a
I
I
use GarageBand.
GarageBand? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and it gets done what I need it to. But I'd like to do more stuff. But yeah. And I recorded like it's just like just the mic with the interface, and USB. I think this song I recorded in my church.
Nice.
I just had a mic sitting in the middle of the room, and I just recorded all the parts and went from there. So
That's what's up.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of musicians like start out in that church setting.
Yeah.
Or, like come from there.
it's such a cool thing if you have a church that's like kind of like supportive of art,
Yeah.
and they want to let you be creative. And I was really fortunate to have a church that like was going to let me be kind of myself. I didn't have to just play what they wanted me to play.
That is cool.
So it was really nice.
Yeah.
So the sort of changed the vibe of the kind of church music we played was different than the rest of the town.
That's
Which was
good.
cool. Which
That's,
was cool.
That makes it more interesting.
Yeah. So it was nice. Yeah. Boom. And then just all those claps. That's just me.
That was you. That
Just
was
all
awesome.
me. Just different
I like
claps.
that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Different hand shapes, cupping it, flat. Yeah. So
That's creative as hell.
Yeah.
I like that.
thanks, man.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man.
So, you said you're about to go on tour soon?
Yeah, August I'll be on tour with a band called Divided Me.
Divided.
Yeah, so Divided Me is
that the metal band?
Yeah, it's a metalcore band out of Amarillo, and we'll be our EP for that band drops July 7th, so next week, and you can pre-order now. Just look us up on Facebook, Divided Me, on Instagram, Facebook, the Twitter. I think we're on Twitter. I don't know. I just joined the band like 3 months ago, 2 months ago.
It's hard promoting through Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. Well, and in this area, Twitter is not used a lot. Maybe in Amarillo, Borger, there's no one that uses Twitter. So
That makes sense.
but yeah, so Divided Me, we'll be on tour in August. July is kind of a dead month for us, so I'm hoping that I can use that time to record the Native Crowd stuff, which is the solo stuff that I'm doing.
Nice.
All the songs I've been writing and playing at 806 and stuff. All the sad music will come out from that moniker. So, and the goal is to have that EP done by August. But I'm hopefully going to play some stuff. I'm trying to like organize like a pop punk show in August to drop that album.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Divided Me and Native Crowds are the two music things I'm a part of.
And Native Crowds is solo, you said?
Yeah, Native Crowds is all of the stuff I've written. So
Nice.
yeah.
And do you record all this in Borger?
yeah, right now. The drums I think I'm recording in Canyon.
Are there any other musicians in Borger? Is it pretty quiet?
There's a few.
Yeah. Are there any venues?
No, you'd either play. So there's one guy, and I'm sure he'll know I'm talking about him, but there's one guy that does a lot of promoting, and but he'll book shows at the Aluminum Dome, which you can imagine how wonderful that sounds.
Oh, I've always wondered what that was.
Yeah, it's just a big aluminum room.
Oh.
Yeah,
They do events in there?
they'll do mostly quinceañeras, but so they'll do that, or he'll plan shows at the park. That's about it. There's not a good music venue in Borger, and that's also the other thing is like the musicians that are in Borger that are doing anything that aren't just playing like that aren't nothing against bar bands, but that are actually like writing. Pretty sure I'm already doing stuff with them. That's Divided Me,
Oh, okay, cool.
So, but anything, I don't know. Maybe there are people I just haven't met yet, but I haven't found them.
I
So,
see.
Yeah.
That's cool, though. You like commuting from Borger? You plan on moving out?
The goal is to be here by the end of the summer.
How far is Borger from Lubbock?
3 hours.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't think
Yeah.
it's closer, but I might
Yeah.
be wrong.
Yeah, so essentially I'll drive the 45 minutes here,
Mhm.
and then I just have another like 2 hours to Lubbock, pretty much. So,
So,
yeah, but the
see
goal...
glass half full. I like it.
Yeah, so the goal is to be in Amarillo, just because I really do love the 806, and
806 is really cool.
I would love to keep doing stuff with them, and then just also this is where the other half of our band, Divided Me, is where we rehearse. Like we're based out of Amarillo, so it's just easier. It'd be easier for me. I've put so many miles on my minivan the last 6 months just being over here. Also, there's just a lot of people here. Or I don't want to say a lot. There's a couple people here who are really important to me that I come to see. So it just makes sense. Also, just with all the baggage with my divorce, Borger being so small, like I'm gonna run into it's just better if I get out, just for my own mental health.
Makes sense.
So yeah, and just trying to sell my house and get over here. So
nice.
Yeah, man.
Hope it works out. But if you move to Amarillo, you can't be part of Divided Me because you won't be divided.
Oh, looky there.
Yeah.
That's true. I never thought about that. There, half of us live in Borger, half of us live in Amarillo. Man, if we all move to Amarillo, we have to change our name.
Yeah, now it's Together Me.
Together Me. That's such a happy name for such a metal band. So yeah. I heard you playing some of our stuff, and it's like,
I was trying to play it quietly.
Yeah, no.
So I didn't.
It's cool.
Interrupt.
It's good stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I love. What do you call? Do you just call that screaming? Where it's like this guttural sounds.
Yeah. Some people call them harsh vocals. Some people call it screaming. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I love that sound with the oh.
Yeah. Scott's such a really good at it. Yeah.
Ooh, female vocals.
Yeah, dude.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so we have 6 people. So we have Scott and Deanne, they're our vocalists, and then it's me, Spencer, and Jory, and Tyler. We're all the musicians. So, yeah. Deanne joined the band about a year ago, I think. And
This does sound really good, though.
yeah, dude, they went to, I don't remember where they went, but they went to, I think, Oklahoma, and recorded about 2 months ago, and sat with a producer and like really put in the time and got a really good mix. It was really cool. So
oh yeah. Where do you guys touring at?
so we'll come, I think we're gonna try to play Lubbock, Amarillo, and then up to Oklahoma City, and then the tour is meant to get us to Missouri for this festival that we're on. So we'll play a festival in Springfield at the end of it.
Oh
yeah,
that's so awesome.
yeah.
How often have you toured before? Was it just that recently?
So those 2 shows I played last weekend were the first time I've traveled to play like for a prolonged period of time. So this week in August will be the first time I've actually been to touring. So
think you'll enjoy it? Enjoy the road life?
Dude, I love traveling, and I like being other places, and I love this part. This break makes me so happy. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Ooh. Spencer's such a good guitar player. His solo is so good.
Damn, this is dope.
Yeah, man, I love it. It's really fun.
I gotta like their Facebook page.
Yes, dude. Hit us up. We really like. I'm really glad they asked me to play with them. So.
Did you know them beforehand?
Yeah, I knew about half of them from school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we've sort of all been in the similar circles for 10 years. So Deanne, the female vocalist, I've known her the longest. She and I homeschooled when we were kids. So like I've known her forever. And then the other guys I've known just from high school and stuff. But
were you homeschooled all the way through high school?
I homeschooled 3rd grade through 8th grade.
Oh, you were a teacher?
Huh?
Wait, sorry. 3rd grade through 8th grade.
Yeah, like I was in homeschool from 3rd grade to 8th grade.
Do you think it was advantage or disadvantage? Education-wise, I know, like,
education-wise, I'm probably not the person to talk to because I just played on the internet for those however many years it was.
Did you really?
Yeah, dude.
That's so cool.
So my mom was like really trusting of me, and so she just like she signed up for an online homeschool course. So essentially I had to log in and I would do my lessons.
Okay.
I would just go on there and scroll through everything, get to the end, and like take some exams here and there just to make sure I get my certificate.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but even then she didn't keep track of it. Truthfully, It was probably neglectful, and it was probably not a good thing. But I wound up okay, education-wise. So I don't know. I feel like the things that I learned by just being able to just mess around on the internet for however many years that was, 5 years. It was 5 years. See, like my math skills are lacking, but the 5 years that I did that, just learning how to navigate the internet was really important. I think I gained a lot there. My appreciation for pop culture and art came from that, understanding. And then I got like the important things in high school. You know, I did all the math and all of that because I went to public school. So, but education-wise, I'm probably not the person to talk to about whether homeschooling is a good alternative.
Well, I mean, it's not. You might not even been like behind, you know, because there's people that
Sure.
go all the way through school and don't write their name on a paper. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, half of the things I think that go from education require common sense.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that you need to know, you know, systems and the way things work, even mathematically. But there's just some things mathematically that are just common sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I just kind of had to learn that when I got into high school. Just like, well, common sense would tell me this and this and this, and try to get caught up if I was behind. But I don't know. I don't feel like I did poorly. I mean, I graduated.
Yeah.
I was.
Well, I bet being self-taught helped you.
Yeah.
Because that's all you do in college is self. I wish they would have done that more in high school.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Yeah, there's a lot of things handed to you in public school, like in grade school.
Absolutely.
And that kind of handicaps you when you get into college. I was only in college for like 2 years, and then I quit. So
I should have quit.
Did you
just not
did you graduate college?
Yeah, I have a degree.
What did you get?
Communications.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing what you went to school for, sort of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I went. It's funny. I just went to college because I thought that's what you had to do after high school.
Right.
And it was like I wanted to do stand up, so I was like, I'll do advertising, public relations.
Yeah.
I'll be good at public relations. I'll be a better speaker.
Yeah.
And then I did an advertising class, and I won an award for a Morgan Freeman impression for a Chipotle commercial.
Nice.
And then, and I was like, all right, I'll just make funny commercials for a career.
Yeah.
And then I graduated. I was like, I don't really want to do that. I'll just see if I can do stand-up.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's cool.
I would have done the 806 a lot sooner if I knew it existed. Like, I knew
Right.
there was the 806. I didn't know they had an open mic.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I didn't know. I don't know who told me. Oh, I do know. It's a buddy of mine's like ex-girlfriend was telling me that I should go play, and that's
Nice.
why. Yeah.
It is
so-
a great environment.
It is, yeah. It's really cool. But yeah, I think also like so I was at Frank Phillips, and they didn't have anything I cared about.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, why am I doing this? You know.
Yeah.
So and I think I also dropped out because I was offered an internship after those 2 years at my church. It was like a paid internship for music.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I care about this place and everything. So I was like, I'll just do that.
Were you studying music in college?
No.
No, they didn't have any music.
No, they cut they cut the music program about 4 years before I got into college.
Oof.
Yeah, so yeah, Frank just like doesn't have any sort of like other than the fine arts class you're required to have in order for an associate's degree. They don't have any specific like music or theater or.
Oh, that's depressing.
Yeah, I don't even think they have a computer program anymore. They just do nursing, welding, agriculture, and then basic business classes. And your basics, like, you know,
Yeah.
stuff you need to get a degree.
Makes sense.
So.
Makes sense. That's sad.
Yeah.
WT's growing pretty big. That's where I went.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty.
I envied WT because, like, I knew
crazy.
they're both. I was interested in music, but knew, like, I probably wasn't going to do that because I know WT, people who have majored in music at WT, actually any college, if you major in music, you better be ready to hate music.
Really?
Yeah, because, like, the amount of time you have to dedicate to the, like, the form and the structure of music. A lot of people are passionate about music because of how it makes them feel. But then you have to understand the intricacies of it. And that, a lot of times, takes the wonder out of it. And so then you wind up hating it.
Oh man.
Yeah. So,
That's tough.
yeah. So I thought about if I was going to go to WT, I was going to do, like, mass comm or something and go into, like, because I like editing. I like producing video and sound, like all of that. I love that stuff. So I was like, I thought about doing that. But then, like, YouTube sort of gave you the ability to experiment and figure that stuff out too. And you had Movie Maker and iMovie that made it so easy to make videos that it's just like, well, a degree would be nice on paper for people if I ever want a job. But
Yeah, that's really all it is. It looks good on paper.
yeah. And at this point, like, I think it's getting to a place where it's like, it's just a matter of if you know somebody. You don't even necessarily need a piece of paper as much anymore.
I mean, I feel like bachelor degrees are, I mean, unless you're like an engineer,
Right.
like they're for the most part obsolete.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing a fine arts
Yeah.
anything in the arts area.
Yeah. Anything media related, I don't think you need it. But like doctors, engineers, like the big things that require like a huge amount of expertise, that makes sense. Go to school for those things.
Absolutely.
But there's YouTube for everything else.
Yeah.
Learn it.
The internet. Learn it.
Yeah. So.
Get it on.
Yep.
Well, we've been going for a while now.
Yes.
We can wrap it up. Do you want to? I guess you already plugged your
Yeah.
band names, any
Yeah.
social media.
Native Crowds, Divided Me.
I'll put a link to your SoundCloud and the Facebook page.
Yeah, cool. My personals, Remy Todd on everything. That's pretty much it, man. I do YouTube. I haven't done it in a long time, but it's this. Yeah, I just music and all of that. I'm at the 806 a lot for open mic, so come out there.
They don't come see me, but maybe they'll come see you, man.
They should. They need to fucking come and see you. You guys like I always feel really bad, and this is a lot. Probably this will be the last thing. I'm always like really hopeful that they don't put me before or after you guys because I sing such sad stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And I just know like if for me to sing like a song like Find Yourself where it's like, oh yeah, you left me for this guy and be really sad and then like have to be a comic and come up and be like,
I love
time to make you laugh.
I prefer to follow music.
Yeah.
I think it's harder to follow poetry.
Yeah.
But what's funny, I don't know if you were there that day. I think his name is Taylor. Taylor Lowe. Do you know who that guy is? Oh, okay. He's like this blonde guy. He's a really good musician, but he was like, I probably have his name wrong. It's probably a totally different person, but but he sang a song. The last song, he was like, "This is dedicated to my friend," or like it was someone in his family who died of cancer.
Yeah.
And I was following him, and my first joke was about cancer.
No.
I was like, fuck.
You have a knack for like having a perfectly timed joke for something.
But it landed still. So
Yeah.
it was good. It
Oh
was good.
my gosh.
It worked out. But
Yeah.
I was just in my mind, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I gotta leave.
Yeah. That's great. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I really do admire what you're doing for the comedy scene here because people need that. People need to laugh.
I think they do. I think they do, man. Especially in times like this.
Yeah. So.
And I appreciate it. I
Keep
like
doing
what
it.
you're doing as well.
Well, thanks, man. I feel like I'm scratching the surface. I feel like I got some more ground to cover, but I'm really.
No, we all do.
I'm just really excited. I hope it's not lost on you. I hope you understand, and I think you do. But I hope you understand how much in just the last, you said 14 months, like how much you have been a part of doing something really, really important and beautiful in this town. Like you and Skylar both have done, and I've only seen it since January. But to see the growth of just like the fact that you guys are playing all these places and it's working is huge. And if I can commend you for anything, like man, you've done some pretty cool stuff for just a year and a couple months.
I appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
That means a lot. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I see the movement happening, so it's good.
Yeah, it's good, man.
We're doing it. We're doing some things, some small things that might snowball into some big things.
That's the start. That's how you start. So,
all right, we'll
Yeah,
go
man.
ahead and wrap it up.
Sweet.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Dun dun dun.